What up, my guy?
Peace. What up, man? You can hear me all right?
I hear you good, brother. You sound good.
What up, man? Thank you
Yeah.
for
Hey, thanks for being here, bro. Look,
already, man.
hey, man, appreciate it, man. All the love, man. The extended love. You know, we play all the records, man. We play everything you said. So, yeah,
Yo,
no.
I appreciate that, man. I be seeing that. I be seeing the traffic. Like I'm always looking, see what shows, is playing the record, and I definitely see that on the regular. So I appreciate that.
Bro, we're gonna keep you going. Thank you for having us to be here. I'm about to send us in on live. I'm gonna go ahead and put us on the radio because I got something. Before we get in the interview, I got a goodie. I gotta ask you, bro. I gotta ask you because I'm a fan, so you know I gotta put this on blast. But I got a question to ask you. It was something beautiful. You know, me and go through the music. We go through everything, especially when you family, bro. And we want to salute you, bro. Things you've done and continue to do. Give you your flowers. We about to drop the whole shop on you today, bro.
Yo, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Let me get us on live, bro. I'll be right back.
Let's get it, man.
There we go. Ready to roll with my brother, Jake Palumbo. Let's get it.
Let's go.
Power357radio.com. Y'all know what it is. Happy Sunday. I got the one and only, have the one and only Jake Palumbo. Y'all already know I got him in the building. I told y'all we get bigger and better every week. Episode 8, we straight. We got our bro, Jake Palumbo, in the building. Salute King, what it is.
Yo, I appreciate you having me, man. It's good to be here. Thank you.
This brother is an MC, DJ, producer, recorder, mixer, engineer, meaning if you just don't know. So, hey, Jake, first of all, you got to get your nickname early. I give every guest we have a nickname. You are our EGOT of hip-hop. That's what you are, bro. But you are definitely our EGOT of hip-hop because you really do it, bro. Digging through everything. We've been digging for a while. We're fans. Ever since you sent us, thank you for the love you sent to the God Hour, Blue Game News, the family, Power 357 Radio, and the Hip Hop Junkeez, of course, myself and the whole team. Look, I got a personal question to ask you before we get off into all the regular interview. There's a song I'm in love with. Same Dollar by Muffin.
Word.
Is that Dusty Rhodes?
At the beginning, it actually is. Yeah, if you listen to my music for any length of time, like, I'm a lifelong wrestling fan.
I am too.
And more specifically, like I'm a fan of the wrestling from when I was a kid.
Yes, sir.
And so, I'm sorry, let me put my phone on silent.
That's all right. That's all right.
This interview gonna get disrupted every 2 minutes, but nah, yeah, it's one of those things that Dusty Rhodes is a great speaker, and if anybody's a hardcore wrestling fan, they probably remember that from the Eye for an Eye promo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But when I was looking around for clips to set it off, because I always think a record should play out kind of like a movie does. There should be a beginning, there should be a middle, there should be a conflict, there should be a climax, there should be a resolution. And so I was just looking for an ill clip to go at the beginning of that song. And I got to thinking about the Dusty Rhodes Eye for an Eye promo and, about how he's talking about, he's been stabbed in his heart, but he keep going. And, it just felt appropriate. But, yeah, that's from Dusty Rhodes. 100%.
I want you to know from DJ, he don't like to be on camera, but he is giving you the salute, King. We heard that about a week ago. And I said, yo, before I get to ask you, Jake, any questions, I gotta know, because that sound like the great for the people, if you will. That sound like the great. And yes, thank you, brother. Thank you. So look, when we get people here, we let you know your family. You got a key. You can always pull up. You send it, we spend it. We don't care what you drop. We rocking it. You already know. We have family here. We don't have friends. We family here. So welcome, brother, to Happy Sunday, because this is how we do it. And happy Sunday.
Yo, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I watch a lot. You know, I do my research, brother. So you already know. I see you, and you see me. Come on with it. I already know. Welcome to Happy Sunday. This is Happy Sunday. Now, first question I really did want to get into with you, bro. How did hip-hop begin for Jake Palumbo?
Well, it began because, you know, a lot of people may know, and you could probably hear it in my accent. You know, I grew up in Tennessee. I was born and raised in Tennessee. I've lived in Brooklyn for 16 years, so I've been in New York almost half my life, but I grew up in Tennessee, and there's not really a lot to do there, especially if you grew up in before the internet and social media and stuff existed. So I've always had an obsessive personality, and where I come from, you know, if you don't find something to occupy yourself with, you're going to get into trouble pretty quickly. And so, you know, my parents were always very cool about letting me make as much noise as I wanted to with my music, whether it was listening to records or whether it was, you know, banging out on the drums or you know, whatever. They were always very cool about, you know, just letting me, as far as they were concerned, as long as I was in my bedroom making noise, they knew where I was at.
True.
So with that said, like my whole life, I've always been obsessed with music. And, you know, as a teenager, that started to evolve into hip hop. You know, I used to cut my grandma's lawn, and I get paid $20 a week to do that. And I would always take that $20 and go to Camelot Music in the mall and,
all right.
you know, and buy somebody's album. And so it began with Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Because I used to, now mind you, this is already, you know, this is 94, 95 by this point. So that album's a few years old. But I used to see the album cover like almost staring at me in the store, and just curiosity week after week. Eventually I bought the Public Enemy album, and I was blown away. Like it just, I told Hank Shockley this when I met him, that, you know, I played that record until that record didn't play anymore. And so then fast forward a year or two later, when Wu-Tang Forever came out, my mom and dad got me that album for my birthday that year. And that completely solidified, you know, my need to be in hip hop. Like, especially when I figured out that RZA was the guy making the beats, and, you know, kind of how the whole dynamic worked. I was just floored. It was like seeing, you know, comic book heroes on screen, basically. Like when I had that Wu-Tang album in my car, I felt like I wasn't riding alone. So sorry about that. Yeah, something weird happened with that. But yeah, so getting wild feedback there.
Yeah, I'm getting wild feedback.
Okay.
1 2 1 2. There we go.
That's better. Okay. Right. So yeah, you know, the Wu-Tang album really just completely put me over the edge as far as hip hop having to be something that was a part of my life. And it became really easy because my parents had a big record collection. And when I started seeing, you know, how beats were made and sampling and stuff like that, it was just a really easy transition. And I've always been the type of person that I get bored easily music wise. And so one of the things that made me fall in love with hip hop is that you can rhyme over jazz, you can rhyme over funk, you can rhyme over rock, you can rhyme over country music if the beat's right. You know, it don't matter. Like, so there's this unlimited musical palette that you could take from as long as the drums is knocking. And so from there, I mean, you know, I've always pretty much my whole life wanted to be a musician when I grew up. But, you know, from the time I was 14, 15, like that was when I really started falling in love with hip hop, and I just took it from there.
Okay. What was your first piece of equipment? What was your first weapon of choice you ever used?
I didn't have a weapon of choice until years later. Like when I was starting out, I was doing things really primitively. Like my earliest recordings were done linking two cassette decks together to try to multi-track. When I couldn't afford that. But you know, I had a Boss drum machine, and I had a Yamaha keyboard, and, you know, I had a bass guitar. And one of the things that did help me in my production was I played several instruments from the time I was a little kid.
Okay.
So I've always been able to combine sampling with live instrumentation. Even as you can probably tell, a lot of my beats are sample based, but I'm playing along with that. Like I'm playing bass and strings and keys and the whole nine.
Okay.
I like to combine the two, but it was an easy transition in that aspect. But I started real primitive, like a Boss drum machine, like an MPC at that time cost $1,500, which might as well have been $1 million at that point.
Understood.
When you ain't got no money.
Yes, sir.
So, just one at a time, I just started getting a piece of gear here and a piece of gear there. And to this day, I don't even really have one like set choice equipment. To this day, sometimes I make beats on the MPC. Sometimes I make beats in I've got an ASR 10. Sometimes I make beats in Machine. Sometimes I make beats in Logic and Pro Tools. Sometimes I make beats, with different keyboards. Like, there's no like one way. Like, it's just whatever I'm feeling at the moment. And I think that's one of the things of not having good gear when I was coming up. It allowed me to, kind of be a chameleon and make beats on whatever we got.
All right. And now, you know what? Something you touched on, it takes me over to my next question I was going to ask you. As a producer, what is your mind state when you're creating?
When I'm making beats, I just make beats to make them.
Okay.
And that's part of why I'm making beats is almost like my happy place. Like it's the most fun part of doing all this is I just sit down and catch whatever vibe I catch. And the cool thing is I make whatever I make in the moment, and then I just throw it into a pile.
Okay.
And then whenever I've got an idea for a song, or when I'm working with another artist and they got an idea for the song, we just find the track that works for it. So that's kind of how I work. Like I, what up? I don't go into it with any kind of really set agenda at the beat making stage. At the beat making stage, I'm really just creating whatever I feel in the moment. And then it goes into a pile. And I always say it's like adoption. Like it's like when you go to adopt a pet,
right?
And you're just walking down the line and you find the one that speaks to you. So when it comes time to actually make a song, then there's a couple hundred beats in the pile, and we just go find the one that works.
Hip Hop Junkeez in the building. Urban Legend J Quest. Yours truly, Sammy Sid Vicious. We got the one and only, the EGOT. Yo, hey Jay, you have to make them put musician now inside of your write up with the recording, mix engineer, MC, DJ, producer. That's why we call you our EGOT. You have to get musician, true musician. I hope y'all heard him when he said, "I'm playing along with when I make it." Because y'all know, y'all already know, Big Top Clown Circus in the building. You had Craig G on there. That's one of my favorite, personally, one of my favorite hip hop artists in the world, right? Chased him down to BB King, got a drop from him. Love him, a salute. And when you sent us that, it was like off the wall because the beat is relentless. And then you come in, and then guess what? You got the cut. And it's all aspects of hip hop. It's real hip hop. It's true hip hop. We got the one and only Jay Palumbo in the building. What it is to my partner in crime, Urban Legend J Quest in the building. How you doing, broski? We can hear your golden voice. Turn on your microphone. We got Palumbo in the building. Got Jake in the building. Want to welcome everybody to Happy Sunday. We here every Sunday, 7 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the one and only Jay Palumbo in the building. I told y'all we get bigger and better as we grow and elevate. This is week 8, episode 8, and we got it on. Look who we got in the building. Hey, you know what, Jake? Something I got to salute you for. You hold hip-hop down like gravity, and what I mean by that is I would like you from how you see it. Tell us about Space Lab Recordings, brother.
Space Lab Recordings, began in my bedroom in Johnson City, Tennessee. Going back to me having an obsessive personality, like anything that I'm interested in and passionate about, whether it's the music business, whether it's pro wrestling, whether it's porn, whatever I'm passionate about, I always have to learn every micro detail of how it works.
Okay.
and all the behind the scenes stuff and how the business really actually works. So from an early age, I worked at Sears, and on my lunch break at Sears, I would go to Books A Million, and I would read every book that they had about the music business. And so I'm saying that to say that from a very early age, I never really had a delusion that like a major label was going to discover me in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Right.
I knew enough to know at that point that it didn't really work that way, and that I wasn't just going to make music in my bedroom and one day the A&R calls me and I go pick up my check. So saying that to say that I've always been inspired by a lot of independent labels, and there's a ton of them in hip hop. And even before I was a hip hop head, being in the punk rock community, like that's all based around pressing up your own music and, booking your own shows and stuff like that. So from a kid, like the idea of being an independent artist wasn't really foreign. So from the get-go, I pretty much always assumed that I was going to have to build my own fan base and build my own following and press my own records and basically find my own lane. I knew that nobody was going to find it for me. So when I was a youngin' in Tennessee, from the get-go, I was pressing up my own CDs, booking up my own shows, doing my own PR in a primitive manner at that time.
Right.
And, that's why I don't really have any stories of like being rejected at labels and, stuff like that. Like, that's not really part of my journey. Like, I've kind of always been independent. We didn't sign with Soul Spasm as a distribution deal until 2017. I was already years into it by that point. So
right.
My point is that I've always kind of understood that from the get-go, if I put the money up and control the narrative, then I can kind of be in control of my own destiny as far as my career goes. Now, most independent artists know that the upside is the freedom and the creativity and being your own boss. The downside is not having the budget to make moves that a major label does, and going up against bigger obstacles than a major label probably does. So, there's two sides to that coin.
Right.
I always say, people who are signed or even people who have 9-to-5 jobs are their life is probably less stressful than mine is. Like, I'm very happy and I'm very fulfilled and things are going great, but that doesn't mean that I don't have to juggle 500 things every day. And, but to ultimately answer your question, my studio was called the Space Lab from the time that my studio was just a PC with Cool Edit Pro, in my bedroom in Johnson City with the Little Boss drum machine. So I just started using Space Lab from the very time I started. So by the time that I moved to New York and was releasing records on a bigger level and getting distribution and things like that, there was no real reason to rebrand at that point. At that point, I've been saying Space Lab on records for years. Right. So, you put so much time into trying to build that as a brand that you might as well stick with it once you actually get to the dance. So yeah, that's always been my vehicle to release my music and to release records by other artists that I believe in and that, I've got musical chemistry with. So yeah, it's just always been kind of my imprint. Like everything I do is under Space Lab. So
I love it. That's why
I love the independence. Yeah. I mean, the independence is fantastic. And I mean, you touched on a lot of things. Sorry, I'm redoing my studio, so I got pieces and equipment everywhere. So, my nickname is Murphy's Law for a reason, because when it comes down to showtime, I had everything. I've run across it 50 million times today, Sam. You know how it goes. Yeah. And then when I need it, 5 minutes before the show, it's like the little leprechauns that live in my closet took it and moved it. Could be the little leprechauns that I created too, but you never know.
Look, hey, Quest, I wanted to ask you. I know we got some goodies by the one and only Jake Palumbo.
Oh, absolutely.
Running them for a minute. What you got set up over there? Good, Coach.
Oh, yeah, man.
You.
I'm telling you, Jake and I've watched his videos for a while, and I mean, he is a true musician. And I'm kind of jealous because I don't have the fingers to play bass, but I played drums and horns for 30 years, Jake. So,
dope.
I understand the love of music, and Sam will tell you I'm like a walking encyclopedia of it because in the 80s and 90s, I didn't have a diagnosis for being super ADD. I just read the back of vinyl albums that my parents had, and I've been collecting vinyl ever since, man. It's just one of those things that when you're a music fan, you get it. You know what I mean? It touches on, we always say on the show, it's a universal language that's spoken by everybody in the world. I mean, the dialect difference, you can't have a conversation, but they'll shout their lyrics, your lyrics right back at you on stage. And I mean, that's something it's a bug that you can't get rid of. You know what I mean? And being independent and doing what you're doing. And I mean, I want to get into it in a little bit. I've been telling Sam about it. I want to hear the story about the studio because I read about that years back and how you battled that. And then the post you made when you moved, when you moved into the new building, and you said, when one door closes, you're there for a reason. You know what I mean? And then you got the new spot. It's in, is it in Brooklyn?
Yeah, we've been in Brooklyn. It's crazy as it sounds for 5 years now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, see, that's what I was saying. I came across the old court case, and I was like,
yeah,
it was wild. They said that you got the new space on the same day that the court case ended. You battled it for how long?
There's always been wild numerology in my career, period, because the week I got laid off from my job was the same week that I got my first paid recording session for starters.
Okay.
And so, basically, to make a very long story short, from the time I moved to New York, I worked in a couple different studios, and then in 2011 actually opened up my own space, and I've been working entirely for myself ever since. But what basically happened was that the building I was in was a 12-floor building of nothing but music studios.
Wow.
Music studios, but also music schools and rehearsal spaces and things like that.
Yeah, I know the type of building that you're talking about.
And
now, where was it? Was it in Manhattan?
It was on 30th Street in Manhattan, right?
Oh, that's a good location too, man.
No, it was the rent reflected that. Trust me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
But, at least at the Times Square of the 80s, though, man.
Yeah, no, it was right in prime location. It was easy to get to from Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere. But the point is that the building ultimately ended up getting sold while we still had an active lease. And that went to court, and it got ugly, and it was very draining. And, I was running out of time to find a new studio space. And sure enough, found the spot that I'm in, right. We beat the buzzer by like a matter of days.
Yeah, and they had a quote. They had you quoted when you walked like the next day, and you were like, what you said stood out in my mind. I mean, it was somewhere along the lines of, I'm meant to do this, but this closes down. And you said, you had lost everything that you had, they were taking away everything that you had built, and you built a good space for independent musicians. I mean, that's what I mean. Anybody that's out there, I mean, check out Jake.
Definitely.
He's a fantastic engineer, and he works with some of my favorite. Like, I was a big Artifacts guy back in the day, man. I love the stuff that you and Elder Sensei do, man.
Oh, thank you. Elder Sensei is my big bro. Like, he's I always say to know him is to love him. Like, he's as dope as he is as a rapper, like he's an even better human being. Yep. But I've been working with El. It started out like most of my musical relationships. A lot of times it starts out with me being their engineer.
Okay.
And I always have an approach where I don't bum rush people. Like I do not always, I always say, like, I worked with Tony Touch for over a year before I even told him I did music.
Well, hold on. Let me,
wow.
So when you produce people, if you hear you're a musician, so you have an ear. So what you just said, like, you don't bum rush people. When people pay, compared to when you have a passion, like you see somebody with talent and it's like, nah, come here, like, I want to work with you. Then as a producer, like, I always feel like if I don't, you know what I mean? Some people don't take criticism well at all, but if I see and I want to work with somebody, rather, in regards to them being a paying client, I do kind of bum rush them then at that point, because if I can't get the best out of people and make them comfortable, you're not doing your job as a producer.
Well, okay, now that's different. It's kind of maybe two separate things, because what I was referring to initially was that when I work with people that I look up to in hip hop,
absolutely,
I focus initially on just doing my job.
Okay.
Like, let me make sure that the music that they came to me to get done comes out the way that it is supposed to. Let me first establish myself as a reliable, dependable guy that, that they can be comfortable working with. And then once you've done that, it's such an easier sell.
Yeah.
For me to be like, hey, can I play you some beats? Or, hey, I'm working on this album, can we get on a joint? Like in those cases, that's always been my approach in parlaying me as an engineer to me as a producer and an artist, is that I've always made sure that I don't harass them at the beginning. I do my job and I make sure that their music comes out how it's supposed to. And then I've usually got a and that's why I use Tony as an example, is because by the time you've known me for a year and, it's when I send you a record, it's way easier to get it on the radio. Because I didn't come to you with my hand out.
Right.
Exactly.
So many artists make that mistake of coming with their hand out instead of approaching it of what value can I add to the situation. How can
a lot of DJs are doing that now too. I thought Pay for Play ended with Big Bopper, man. You know what I mean? And it's like they had a federal statute for a while. There was a crime to be able to solicit to the DJs to get them to play records after that. The Big Bopper, he made a fortune, and those guys got. If you had the connections and you had the pocket, man, I mean, but nowadays, I mean, we get hit up all the time, and it's like, a guy called me the other day and he just wants to solicit, artists. That's all he cared about. He didn't care about the music. And, Sam and I, we have a passion for the music, man. We have fun this time around, as you get wiser in life and get a little older, you learn to appreciate it, man.
That's why when I asked him about his weapon of choice and he took it there, Jake, the EGOT, you're the EGOT. He said,
I've been listening. Yeah.
I had the cassettes, baby. I was doing the cassette. Oh, man. He said, I worked at Sears. Hold on.
Oh, you worked at Sears?
For all the young ladies, B-boys and B-girls around here, Sears is a retail store. If you don't know, you might have to Google that one.
Yeah, that JC Penney.
Salute to you.
I remember going there for the family pictures.
Salute to you, Jake Palumbo. You said Sears, baby.
But
what you said earlier, I know the MPC can definitely be an instrument, man, all day long. You kill that thing. Absolutely. I love your beats, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, but definitely, I'm definitely a fan of your whole the way you put on. You do you, and then you let everybody else shine too. You show like anybody you worked with, and I've me and play the record, so we know, far as the names people know and the names people are going to get to know, we know, and you put it on, and you, bro, salute.
Hey, let's go ahead.
Let's spend some Jake Palumbo,
let's
man.
play what started us off.
Dancing, and I can get fried. It's Happy Sunday.
Hey,
y'all know what it is. We got the man himself. We got the one and only, the EGOT of the Hip Hop Junkies is in the building. Jake Palumbo. We're gonna get back to him, but we're gonna get into some.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Sam, this song kind of goes with me and you, and our friendship goes. Jake, we toured together back like 22 years ago, man.
Oh, dope.
We're only 29 now. You remember? And by the way, happy birthday,
oh yeah, happy birthday, brother.
Thank you.
Birthday,
I
didn't want to. I got caught up yesterday at a baseball tournament and doing all that and running around doing that.
Happy birthday, young man.
Yeah, I meant to hit you up, man. And I was trying to get my studio.
29 years young.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
But it's one of those things that it's anybody that runs with us, we have so much passion, and it's just like I tell people, man, you got to have a zest for life to understand how to live it, because a lot of people are scared of life, and they'll and as a creator and at a creative mind, being a right brain person, sometimes it catches more judgment and it can give people insecurities fast. That being said, nowadays, fuck it, I don't care what they think. Let's make some music. So on that note, we're gonna go with the one that started me down the rabbit hole, is the Big Top Circus, because anytime me and Sam roll into town, that's the Big Top Circus, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's one of the first records we broke from Jay.
Yeah, man. I remember Andres and MJ sent it to me. Shout out MJ's Hip Hop Connects and Andres Snowgoon's promotion.
Hip Hop Connects in the building. Big bro Andreas Goon Promotion Worldwide. MJ Salute Queen. You know what it is. Y'all know what we doing.
That's not just a parlay into the song, man. I mean, it's literally anywhere I go is a circus. My wife will tell you she has 4 kids. There's 3 in them me, and I'm the worst one out of all of them. So. It's power357radio.com. This is the Hip Hop Junkies. This is Happy Sunday. We are here with the jack of all trades, probably a master of most of them too. This is Jake Palumbo, but New album. And this one's off of his
called in the building.
Big Top Clown Circus.
The EGOT of hip hop, Jake Palumbo. Now
there
y'all
we go.
know. Take that with you on the way down.
What's up, man? What's up, man? Jake Palumbo. Craig, what up? Young dinosaur, seasoned troubadour, young gunner, Arkansas, Dave Rudaball. Rudimentary, 4/10 a century, 13 years of independence, you should mention me. People said they wanted, I was always doing more. Man, I got it on my own, nobody got me through the door. I accomplished all of that with mental illness and a drug problem. Your apartment got a bug problem. We either talk or do the Rugas. Organic pescatarian, you eat food from who and you make my collard greens, please don't put no ham in it. Stage telling shorty that we good without a lamb in it. Shawshank Redemption, I will get it with a chisel. You sold the steak, you did not sell the sizzle. Sex pistol, great rock and roll swindle. Call my words on a tablet like an Amazon Kindle. What's
when
up?
Jake and Craig spit it, it feels like you're down purpose. The rap game's the big top, we hate the clown circus. The frequency is peaking, watch the way we drown circuits. Rising to the top, the only way to sound surface. When Jake and Craig spit it, feels like you found purpose. The rap game's the big top, we hate the clown circus. The frequency is peaking, watch the way we drown circuits. Rising to the top, the only way to sound surface. Slip, fall, and stumble, Craig G, Jake Palumbo. For white collar criminals, cats that serve bundles. I see you mesmerized by sun, so watch me flare up like the diamonds on my neck of Jake's $50 haircut. Backstage smoking that funk, I'm antisocial. I keep a fake number to give the music hopefuls. Hold up, you're saying too much, you're gonna blow up. Without the alterations to have the game sold up. Archie Bunker, Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns in one game. Better duck for cover, I'm accurate when the gun aims. Never trick on dumb games. Me, I like to shun fame. Keep the hype for yourself, not interested in lung pain. Yours must be hurting cause you speak a mile a minute. I ain't respond once and you still don't know your limits. Every time I go out, people be ruining my high. And that's why I'm the master of the Irish goodbye. When Jake and Craig spit it, it feels like you're down purpose. The rap game's the big top, we hate the clown circus. The frequency is peaking, watch the way we drown circuits. Rising to the top, the only way to sound surface. When Jake and Craig spit it, feels like you found purpose. The rap game's the big top, we hate the clown circus. The frequency is peaking, watch the way we drown circuits. Rising to the top, the only way to sound surface.
Rap now with a circus of clowns.
Cause I don't play clown.
Rap now with a circus of clowns.
Cause I don't play clown.
Rap now.
Continue that independent hip hop that you need worldwide. Hey Jay, we're in 152 countries right now. Look.
That's what's up, worldwide.
You already
man.
got us going, bro. Look. You got numbers like me on a regular night right now, bro. Let's go.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Man, appreciate you.
Get
Appreciate you. Like I said, y'all already know I get nicknames every week. We got the hip hop independent EGOT right here, the one and only Jake Palumbo. Let me explain to y'all. His credentials are as goes: recording, mix engineer, MC, DJ, producer, and musician. Get it right. He's a musician. That's why he dope. That's why he dope.
Oh, I mean, but you have an enthusiasm for what you do, and you can see that in your posts. You can hear it in the music, and I think a lot of times nowadays that's what people lose is the enthusiasm for it. People paint themselves into genre corners, and it's like I hate that conversation. Like, why do I have to pick one thing over the other? And it's when people get in that box, they tend not to get out of it. And as creative people like me, like you said with records, I mean, I got some, my turntable sitting behind me. Like I don't know if you can see it back there, but I have a whole storage shed full of them, man. I've been collecting since I was 11. I got close to like 30,000, I think. But I restore Victrolas, and I opened up a false bottom one time in the old Victrola, and there was some Slate records, Billie Holiday in there in the backside on the false cabinet. So that was a score right there.
I appreciate you, brother, because your music gives us that feel of when I had a Walkman and going into the CD man days when hip hop was pure and natural, and that's all you seem to constantly create, pure and natural hip hop. And we appreciate you for that, brother. Salute.
I tried, man. Thank you. Like,
oh no, you do a great job.
Yeah, you
do a hell of a what you say, 13 years of independent greatness, brother, and more to come. We got another 1,000. We got another 1,000 years of the great Jake Palumbo in the building.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully.
So, Jake, let me ask you a question, man. Because I ran it. It's funny. I'll segue into that in a minute. But You said so. What I asked people this question a lot, and Sam will tell you I can relate. So I left my job. I've taught sales for half my life, and as you can tell, I'm a talker, so I got the gift of gab. But it's one of those things that what made you when you said you got laid off from your job. There's a thin line between people that'll do it for a hobby. You know what I mean? But what makes you push and say, you know what? F it. I'm gonna try this because that takes balls to an extent. Just like I tell people all the time, the people that submit their music to us, I try to listen to it all because as an artist, as a person, it's hard to get critiqued, and there's a lot of people can't do it, and it takes gusto to put something in the universe and have it judged.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of twofold in terms of as far as what made me keep pushing in that moment was I moved to New York with the intent of being a hip hop artist. Like that was why I came here in the first place, because going back to what we were talking about earlier, like when you read all these books about how to make it in the music business at that time, their main advice to you was that you need to get something popping in your hometown first before you try to venture out to a major city. And the thing was I always say, like, I'm either an old kid or a young dinosaur.
They call it old soul, right?
Like I came in this weird, when I started out, it was just like maybe 2 years before the dawn of social media. Okay. So I'm saying that to say that like I was already too young to have missed. Like I had missed that era of everybody getting deals and things like that. But I hadn't, it's a little bit different now. Like if you start out with social media, like you could live in Kansas and get your record popping if you know how to work the internet. Now at the exact time that I started out, that was still about 2 years away. So we were still having to press up CDs and go to clubs and put flyers underneath windshield wipers.
Yes, sir.
And like do the really old school way of promo, except the difference.
It's funny, I went and made a bunch of those the other day with QR codes on it so I could track it when I would go into an event. Those
put in that work, Jay. You put in that work.
I was like, I need those flyers that used to go under my windshield in the city.
So, having started out doing that, like the problem was that, we didn't have any money. And, so, excuse me, saying that to say that I moved to New York when I moved to New York because I'm the kind of person that I tend to do my best work when it's sink or swim, when it's do or die. I will learn how to swim by being thrown into the deep end of the pool. So I moved to New York with $75 to my name, and just kind of figured it out as I got here. I had a little bit of help. There was a girl that I knew in Tennessee that had gotten a job teaching high school in Brooklyn, who let me stay on her couch for a couple months while I found an apartment and things of that. So, I mean, I did have some help in that department. But my point is this, is that I was working my day job at the same time that I was interning at a studio.
Okay.
So I came to New York with a focused goal of, I have to figure out something as far as making a living in the music business. And that system was working pretty decent for a while of pulling my day job, then, volunteering for free at the studio on nights and weekends, and then doing Jake Palumbo music whenever I could find a chance to do Jake Palumbo music. It just so happened that, the 2008 recession and me getting my first paid recording session when I graduated from intern to engineer, they just occurred at the same time. And so
now, how long was that? How long did you intern for? Because I
interned for about a year and a half before I started getting paid gigs.
There you go, man.
But the story, it's not like that was happily ever after, because I lose my day job. I get on as an engineer, and then that studio goes out of business 3 months later.
Oh,
so then that began the process of working at other places and eventually
it sounds like it sounds like something cosmic is looking out for you to make sure you can do this music. You hear that, Sam? Like, I mean, that's it.
I'm very in tune with God and higher powers and things of that nature, and I definitely don't believe a lot of this is accident. But
things happen for a reason.
As far as what kept me going in that moment was just like, that's why I came to New York. Like if I would not endure all the stress of being a New Yorker and, expensive everything. And, there's so many things. Having lived in both Brooklyn and having lived in America, there's a lot of things that are like really stressful in Brooklyn that in America they're not. Like, finding a parking space, doing your laundry, like going grocery shopping. Like, there's things that become difficult ordeals in New York City that are not in the rest of the country. So I'm saying that to say that, like, I'm willing to put up with all that for the purpose of, being able to ply my trade and to, try to leave the impact that I want to leave. So it was easy for me to stay on course because that's why I left behind my family and everything I knew, to come up here and, fight for parking spaces.
That's right.
Hey, look, Sam and I grew up in DC, man, and I'll tell you, it's I know exactly what you're talking about, but New York's a different beast. I mean, New Yorkers, man, I love when the New Jersey people come here to the beach. Let me tell you.
Luckily, I'm crazy enough that I fit right in.
There you go, man. Hey, you know what? It takes a long time. Some people longer, but you figure out, like with me, it's like, fuck it. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm different than these people, but I mean, it's 89% followers in this nation. And then, you got people that just move in herds. And, that's one of the things I said earlier about the creativity. Sam and I talk a lot about the people on the outside that are closest to you. Maybe you can touch on this a little bit. Because you've been doing it so long. I know you've seen some of it, but a lot of the young artists, they don't have thick skin, Sam. Would that be the way to say, or is it, it's not a knock on them. It's just, I don't think they understood the grind of passing out CDs, of being in a parking lot, of playing in a club when there's more people on stage than there is in the crowd, of grinding it out. Because Sam, we were done when MySpace was getting big, right?
Yeah.
So that was right at the end of the year.
But you know what I noticed? There's a different grind now. And the young ladies and young men, the B-boys and B-girls have a different grind now. And it's to me, I see the same energy, especially when you're doing it. And like Jake is independent, and a lot of people we know are independent. So your grind is extra because, like Jake said earlier, you don't have that mainstream, you don't have that machine behind you. So you are your machine. And talking to him, he knew early he was already a machine. Yeah. And he didn't. It, like he said, the internet wasn't here for him to have to weigh in his mind. Am I gonna get on this site or do this? He already understood. I have to do this. I have to do that. Like he said, we were reading books back then on the music business of music. There were certain people would tell you to get certain books, and we did. Luckily, you can see Jake said, I read that book. I know you Quest was reading books.
Oh, man, come on, brother. I have the most useless knowledge on the planet, Jake. I must warn you, but
just trying to be our best. And
exactly.
That's all it was.
Knowledge is out there. Nobody goes for it though anymore. It's a blame everybody else society and making excuses. And anytime anybody comes with a story when they didn't do something immediately, that means you have a reason why you didn't do it. Just do it. I mean, either that or own it. You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, Jake, do your job. I tell my kids like that all the time. If everybody did their job, this place would move smooth.
If you're tuned in right now, understand we have the EGOT of independent hip hop, Jake Palumbo, in the building. You're an inspiration, bro, because you're telling it how it is. You told us from the jump. And I wanted to backtrack a little bit too on you. What music was you listening to growing up before the Public Enemy album? What was some of your favorite jams? What was you listening to as a kid?
I grew up in a house that had a very wide palette musically because, like, my mom would listen to, like, on Monday she'd listen to Cat Stevens and James Taylor and these acoustic singer-songwriters, and then on Tuesday she'd be playing Black Sabbath. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Like, you know what I mean? So my mom had like a real wide palette, and my dad was very heavily into prog rock.
Really? I would have never seen that.
My dad was which honestly, if you really take a close look, there is kind of a heavy prog rock influence in my beats to some degree in terms of like the records I choose to sample.
But I mean, those are the guys that led the prog rock guys are the ones that paved the way for all the experimentation with the synths, with the way that things moved in the 80s. I mean, it developed its own sound to an extent, and now it's heavily sampled all the time. I mean, the kids nowadays are using the songs we grew up on and they're just getting recycled.
My
over and over.
my dad was very into Yes and Rush and Pink Floyd and King Crimson.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
the Doors and things of that nature. So like I just grew up in a house where there was a lot of different music being played at all times, and there was never any restriction put on I never got flack from my parents for listening to hip hop, you know what I mean? Like stuff like as long as they would be interested and intrigued and be like, so what's this record talking about? And then I show them the Public Enemy tape and I go, okay, I bet, they wanted me to listen to things of substance.
It was bad then. There was no award show, there was nothing in there. Like, it's gonna go. Now it rules the global economy, man. I mean, it moves the economy.
And they, up until her passing, like my mom was my biggest fan. Like, my father passed away in 2003, so he's been gone almost 20 years. But my mother used to wear her Space Lab hoodie, and
she's influenced on your music, man.
Everybody, that her son was a hip hop producer in New York. Like, she really enjoyed being a hip hop mom.
But you talk about her a lot. You also talk about her illness on the record, which is it's very personal, and it's something that it drew emotions out of me. I mean, but it's something that it's hard to do that for a public audience is what I guess what I'm trying to say. But you did it in a way that was like, I could never feel what you're going through, but it's a personal moment that you share with your audience, and people see it. People don't get vulnerable anymore. They don't let their unless it's on Facebook, and
that's why I said you take me back to headphones and the fast forward button, or when the Discman came out.
Well, when the song came on, I was at Home Depot and I couldn't get out the car. I just let it bump for about and I was listening to it. And then everybody, I had that thing cranking, man, your whole album. And then it was the $50 haircut, and the dude next to me, he was dying. He was like, "Who is that?" I was like, "It's Jake Palumbo. Tune in tonight, man." He was like, "That's great."
What is it, Quest? He called me like, let's say day before yesterday. He was like, "I love $50 haircut."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, you went and got a $50 haircut? He said, no, Jake Palumbo has a song called $50 haircut. I said, oh man, I ain't heard that one yet. He's like,
I got one better than that. See, there's one that's got me, man. And I've listened to it, Sam, like 10 or 15 times. Now, Jake, I have two boys that are teenagers, and then I have my karma that God gave me when I thought I was on Easy Street, which is the 3-year-old female version of myself. And, Hope, and that's Bravo's niece, but she listens to all the shows. She listens to all the shows, but she loves some hip hop, man. And she is 3, but she's the thermometer if it bangs, man. And this joint with Elder Sensei, this is gonna lead me into this. We're gonna play the video for this joint too.
Right.
But this joint is hard. Did you? And I want to know if you did this beat, because the blast off shit, that shit is just. I mean, if you're in the right mood, that you'll get out the. That could take you.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it could take you to the gym. It could take you into a street brawl. I mean, the beat on that thing. I mean, you can interpret that thing, but it moves. The way it moves and the way you guys hit that beat, even with the chorus is perfect and the way it rolls in. But that beat is just. It almost brought back memories of Mass Appeal, man.
You can hear it. You can hear it. It's like. Well, I know when me and listen to you, Jake, it's like listening to an old Dr. Dre record. You hear everything. You hear the instrumentation. You hear the excitement in the actual rhymes and the rhythms. You hear, especially with you and Elder Sensei, not just you and him, but y'all doing y'all thing. You hear the camaraderie. And
I love the concept of the detective one, because I posted that joint on Instagram that one day, and I was like, these guys got the assignment, man. These guys are fantastic.
Solving Cases was a very
fun record.
It was hard. Because I did all the beats on that album and I rap on one song, but
they shot you out. I mean, you were the presence. You knew you were there on every song. Oh, absolutely, man.
The thing with L, going back to people I initially met, in an engineering standpoint, L was one of the first like influential MCs that was, because by that point I was already getting props as an engineer, but not so much as a producer and an MC. So, me and L worked on Solving Cases off and on, for 6 years.
Okay.
Because we were both doing so much, we would only get a chance to meet up and work on it every few months. And so we really slow cooked that record until it was perfect. But my point is that, L was one of the first guys that had no problem publicly saying Jake Palumbo has bangers and you need to mess with him.
Okay.
If you don't, it's fine because that's more beats for me.
Exactly.
But, but with that said, I think one of the reasons that it was such a good musical marriage is that he, if you listen to the record, like it is clearly a boom bap record. It's clearly a sample based hard drums, it's clearly an upbeat record. It's
clearly
cookout music.
Hip-hop.
It's music for the summertime. And
the whole album, you can listen to the whole thing through without skipping a song.
It is true hip hop.
Musically, it's very ambitious in that, if you're noticing, like going back to what we talked about in the initial, when we first about what made me fall in love with hip hop is like, there's techno beats, there's a reggae beat, there is, soul beats. Like it's such a wide musical palette that he doesn't have an issue. He's really comfortable with experimenting in the studio. And I think I can answer part 2 of your question a minute ago with that, is that like in the studio, I know when to offer my opinion and tell the artist, hey, I think you should do this. And I know when to shut up and let them do them. And making the Solving Cases record with L is, it was very, like, there was virtually no conflict. Like there was no creative conflict in that the beats that I played, the beats that he picked usually would be the first or second beat I played for him. I'd put something on, he'd be like, okay, that one.
That sounds like somebody I know.
We when it came time to actually making the record, for the most part, I let him do him. But at various points, I stepped in and said, hey, I think this would be dope. And he's one of those artists that like, he'll let himself be produced. And it is not an egomaniac to where it's like, how are you telling me what to do? Like, because there are artists,
man. He's been a killer on the mic for so long, man. He influenced a lot of the things I do. He's just a good MC.
Yes.
And
salute Elder Sensei.
Music is tension and release. My friend Jay Blanc always says music is tension and release. Like a song pulls tight and then a song lets go. Wow. And
facts.
To some degree, that's kind of a good way of describing our relationship in the studio. It's tension and release. Like, we'll get to a certain point and then bam, let's try something different. And it worked. So but
I mean, that's what's up. I mean, we're gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go into this video. But that blast off, it's just one of those beats that gets you. Like one of the things that always sticks out of my mind, and I remember I use music as like a.
I want you to know. I didn't mean to cut your knowledge, brother. I wanted Jake to know we broke blast off in the regular and you don't stop rotation when we first caught blast off, because it's all we had you enough in the God hour, bro. So it's time to bro got to go in the rotation now. So that was on So salute to him, but he did that. Because when we first found it, he was like, "Nah, I can't play this in the God
that's so hard."
I was like, man. "Are you serious?" He was like, "Yo, I gotta play." I was like, "It's crazy, play it."
It's a head nodder, man. I mean, that's green light, man. I mean, it's one of those things, like I was saying earlier, like one of the songs that sticks out of my memory, especially in hip hop. And it's just, hip hop can be that a love for, I mean, growing up with it, when we did, it was the MC, it was just the mic battles. Like, you know what I mean? If your rhymes were trash, you stood no chance. Like every cipher was different and it was just fun. It's an art form. So, salute to you. This is Happy Sunday. You're with the Hip Hop Junkies. Power 257radio.com.
The hip hop independent E-God is in the building. Jake Palumbo, PowerTV7Radio.com. Let's go. Happy
yeah, man. And this is called Blast Off.
Yeah. Featuring Elder Sensei. Rhymeologist.
And I mean, it's great. I love this.
Wow. Blast off, Jake Palumbo, featuring Elder Sensei, PowerTV7Radio.com. Happy Sunday.
What up? Add it up, man. Sarah Shabazz, piano band, jazz, ignited the strike of a match, entitled Durant, revival chant like war cries. All of it from all mental screaming on tour guys. Be the nigga cool in the cut, waiting my turn. No concerns, meditating every song of my burn. Notice to learn, my grab bag deep with the vows. Second nature on paper with conceded a pound. Weeded a mile, completed fouls, bouncing the dump. Ounce in the trunk, funky mouse, bound in a bunch. Crammed in the pill, niggas crowded, drowning in tears. Fears of lost years, forgotten and rotting careers. We got the push chat fuel. United we invest tools. scientists from a test tube. Harbor that darker side, that broad marker vibe. Onslaught, that black corner rap, that borderline. Yeah. We gon' blast off and say that when we dropping like east, west, north, south. We got that shit, so turn it up, light it like 9, 10, JP and said. Bring that boom bap shit, we bring it live like stage shows, lights, we on the road. We gon' blast off and say that when we drop it on a 1, 2, don't forget the street. And current affairs, we summon that red. Spit mission, activision with the spitter compared. Attitude, short fuse, rapper dudes lose miserably. Quick delivery, via text of facsimile. You lack chemistry, no guidance around chemistry. Line simile, giving you in the wrong industry. Songs endlessly, committing the song battery. More than averagely gripping, we ripping automatically. APP, crushing frost, let it all down. We gon' patrol, battle foes and cons. Flows from the yarn, known from the shit that we on. With the react, exact bars, clap stars, targeted. Mob is that bomb shit, game black marketing. Trash talking it, status reads, never lost it. Never awkward, bustin' up till I'm exhausted. Mr. Margin, slick talk for better jargon. Data logged in, full throttle, never pausing. We gon' blast off and say that when we dropping like east, west, north, south. We got that shit, so turn it up, light it like 9, 10, JP and said. Bring that boom bap shit, we bring it live like stage shows, lights, we on the road. We gon' blast off and say that when we drop it on a 1, 2, don't forget the streets.
Palumbo.radio.com. You're now tuned in live. Happy Sunday. Every Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Palumbo.radio.com. The one and only championship Bishop in the ring. I'm doing my thing. I got my partner in crime, the urban legend Jay Quest, and we have the one and only, the independent hip-hop EGOT, Jake Palumbo in the building, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We worldwide. We're in 156 countries right now. That means we picked up 4 more. And you ain't even on the turntables today. Yeah. What's good? Hey, bro, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the things that inspire you to be creative?
Honestly, like just life, like the world, whatever bullshit that I encounter on a day-to-day basis. Like somebody can say something stupid at the laundromat, and that'll spark an idea. And what I basically do is I keep like a running text file in my phone where whenever I think of something, I just jot it down immediately, because if I don't, it'll disappear in 3 seconds. Like I'll completely, and I forget great ideas all the time.
Right.
Because I don't write it down fast enough. That's just how my brain is.
You know why they call me Quest, right? Because I'll tell you, I'm always fucking looking for something.
Word.
So
he'll make a check. Hey, Jake, he will make a checklist. And he'll have it made, and it'll go out the window as soon as he finishes.
I told him that I was going to try to make a list on a dry erase board, and he actually shouted out on the radio. And RIP to John Quest, notes and lists.
Yeah,
that's just going in the trash fast. Sorry, Jake, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead,
it's
man.
okay. It's really just observations on, on how I perceive the world. I'm just inspired by whatever I encounter on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes, I'm sitting down with the actual intent of doing a concept and making a point. And then sometimes it's just something happens and I have to talk about it.
Okay.
So I mean, it depends. It varies, but it could be anything
that does PSAs on Instagram, and I'll tell you what, man, it's one of those things you almost got to pull over your car for it. I mean, he hits it right on the head with it, but it's just common sense.
Shout out
shit.
to
Like,
Just Days.
Let me tell you something. The world works in mysterious ways. You put energy out there, shit comes to you all the fucking time, right? If it's not, then you got to rethink about the energy you're investing into the fucking world. They're like seeds, and those seeds grow.
But he calls them lurky lurks. He's like, you know what I really hate are the lurky lurks. And he like makes these words up with definitions. And he's like, the people that hang out around your page never really like anything, never really comment. And then you drop an album, they're like, oh, I've been your fan for 5 years. They've just been lurking in the background waiting.
Oh, yeah, I get a lot of, anybody that's followed me on social media for any length of time has probably seen that I attract a lot of weirdos and
When you did
haters,
the record
and you
label
know,
thing, I almost crashed, man. That shit was hilarious.
You got new cousins? You got new cousins from out in anywhere?
Well, you know, my whole life I've always attracted weirdos. Like I can't shake them. Like, well, you know, whoever the psychopath in the room is will make a beeline to me. Like that just so when that transitions to the internet and social media, you know, I've just always attracted, you know, people that, you know, they're either out and out trolls or you know, they're people that don't like me but still follow me. And that's actually one of the weirder things that's happened in recent years, is that for the longest time, like, I was so obscure that the only people who even knew that Jake Palumbo existed were, you know, cool, like-minded people with, you know, certain mentalities and, you know, things like that. And then it's one of the double-edged swords of actually breaking through to a larger audience, is that these people are not vetted or filtered in any way. But
right.
You know, I've become kind of, I'll never use the term legendary, but I've become notorious, I guess.
Okay, so we'll use legendary 13 years in running. We'll use legendary. Go ahead, brother.
You know, but I've become notorious for being the person who comes up with clever responses to people's shitty messages and screenshots them and puts them on Front Street for my audience to be entertained by.
Anytime you do, like the Master P doll, man.
So
I think my daughter plays that Master P doll one when you're like, so P, what are we thinking this morning? What, you're drinking your coffee?
Right,
my
you know.
Heard that video, man, and she keeps playing that shit over and over. It's like Baby Shark and that.
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one thing that I found too, is that, you know, for an artist to have any kind of long-term longevity, people have to relate to more than just the music. Like they have to some degree, they have to fall in love with the person behind it.
And in sales, it's the same way. I tell people all the time that people buy from you just as much as they buy for the product. I mean, it's people buy for the character and for what they're seeing in the interaction. So
it really is. And that's why, like, you know, I've never had an issue expressing vulnerability, and, you know, whether it's emotional vulnerability, like, you know, me pouring my heart out on a song, or even if it's just me being brutally honest in an Instagram video, telling people how the music business really is, and, you know, some of the heartbreaks and disappointments that come with it.
Oh, it's the worst heartbreak ever, man. It's that'll break your heart worse than anything, any
really
girl,
will.
anything in this world. That'll break your heart.
And I think one of the things that has added to my longevity is that I don't know. I think people relate to the honesty. It's twofold. A, they relate to the fact that I'm not ashamed or embarrassed.
Okay.
To put my lesser points out and my failures, and, you know,
that's just being
basically just saying, like, you know, it can happen to me, and I'm still out here, you know, with my head held high. Right. You know, acting like I'm the man. And then also too, there's an aspect of, like, I think there's people that relate to the fact that I'm the underdog who's willing to take on the bully.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people are not. And, you know, they can somewhat live vicariously through the guy who, like, you know, my thing has always been, I don't give a fuck. Like, there's nothing you can say about me that I haven't already said about myself.
MC, man. You're a dope MC, and you make killer beats.
You're a great producer. You're a great engineer. You're a great musician. That's why you are the EGOT of independent hip hop.
Do you remember the first time I messaged you and I was like, bro, I almost got into a bad car accident, where he's like, I accomplished all that with mental illness and a drug problem. Your apartment got a bug problem. I was like, I spit my drink out and I almost hit the minivan in front of me. I was like, that is the best segue. And it was like, and you were like, whoa, like, don't hit cars because of me.
Yeah, I don't want to be responsible for any accidents. But
you have great wordplay, man. You get it. But like Bravo said, it's
you got into something too. I wanted to get into you about. And you said it was two things. That was one of my questions I actually wanted to ask you, was how do you continue to maintain your longevity in hip hop and independent? 13 plus years, brother.
That's a OG status.
That is that too, man. You continue to put in some work, brother, and continuing to put in work. How do you do that?
You know, the thing that I always stress to myself and to others is that there is no job security in the music business.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, there's really no job security in life.
Anywhere,
I mean,
real quick,
any
and
company can close, and but with that said, like, there is no job security in the music business, and there's no guarantee that anyone's going to care, and there's no guarantee that every year. Up until the last 2 or 3 years, I've spent almost every year being like, I don't know how much longer this is going to last.
You also do a cool thing where you say how many songs are released in a day. I like that.
But the thing I always stress is that being that there is no job security in the music business, my only shot at job security is the work I do today. Now, what I mean by that is that whatever work I'm doing today, whether it's in the studio, whether it's at a show, or whether it's me being on time for this interview, is that people have to have a good experience with Jake Palumbo. When they come to the studio, they got to walk out the door feeling like they made a hit. When they come to my show, they got to feel like, that $15 I paid at the door was worth it. This guy went on stage and tried to kill it.
Right.
There's a lot of people that overlook that, and that's some of the problem too. So
when they tell me the Groove Gang interview is at 7:00, I'm here at 7:00. I'm not pulling up at 7:20.
So no.
And so I'm saying that to say that, like, the only shot I have at having, being hired again tomorrow is that when you hired me today, did I do what I was supposed to? And so with that said, like, every year, even though like my audience grows larger and, things get bigger, it really technically gets harder every year that it goes on. And it requires more focused effort, and it requires more education, and it requires sometimes more changing your strategies on the fly.
You have to adapt.
That's the word I was looking for, adaptation. But but ultimately at the end of the day, it's pretty foolproof that if somebody has a good experience with you, that you're probably going to have more experiences with them. Like if whether we were doing business, on an interview, whether you book me for a show, whether you book me for a feature verse, you get a beat, you book time at the studio, whatever it is. Did it go well? Did I conduct myself like a professional? And saying that to say that when you do that, you have a pretty good chance of coming back. Like, this is probably not my last interview that I'll do with you guys. Like, a year or two from now, when I've got another album out, we'll probably do this again.
Wait, hold on, man. You are family. You are our brother. You have a key. You can pull up when you want with whomever, whatever, however.
All right, so
come on in and let's begin.
I kind of told you in the email, but
anytime.
Sam and I, when we were touring,
don't be no stranger. You family.
We had a bunch of bands that we worked with from around the area. And I had a house where we had a studio in the basement, a live studio, because I played in a live hip hop band then. And we were all on tour together, on and off. I mean, the musician grind. But on Sundays, we would have a huge barbecue because I had a horseshoe pit in the backyard. We had a fence, but everybody would come over. You had to bring food, and you had to have a good fucking attitude. I don't want none of that nonsense at the house.
Yeah,
and we would sit there, we called it Happy Sunday. But everybody would jam downstairs from the different bands, and it almost became a ritual. And so him and Sam, he was like, you got to come on, we got to do a Happy Sunday show, because it was a good time for everybody involved. And killer jam sessions. I mean, imagine 8 different bands at a barbecue and everybody's jamming together down in the studio. So,
and I just like everybody
so that's what I was telling you in the email.
I like everybody to know we're here to work with everybody. We're working together, because if you don't, we already see what that leads to. Now let's try this. Let's see what this leads to. I'm an opposite thinker. If everybody's doing that, I want to do that.
And at the end of the day, people don't realize that, believe in yourself. I mean, you're your only roadblock most of the time. And if you live in the past, the only way to get out of the past is, put one foot in front of the other and move forward. And a lot of people hang around and just sit in that zone. But being a creative, those battles that like I fought, and Sam would tell me all the time, it's a battle you're not going to win. Just let it go, because some of the people don't understand it like we do. And they don't see it as a way to make a living. Like I was saying earlier, and what you said, you just touched on, when you got to grind, and every year it gets harder to keep up that business. But like I said, I left my career, but I have the one thing they don't tell you about the American dream is nobody's going to give you any damn money. And I think that's the difference between what makes people succeed and what makes people with that victim mentality to blame it on something else and quit. Like, I can't quit. It's regardless. My kids use the word can't. I've never been able to use that word. But, rock bottom's built more heroes than entitlement and privilege ever did. And if you can't work for it, you don't deserve it.
Since you guys are talking about working, I wanted to ask Jake this. What are you working on now, Jake Palumbo? What you working on right now? What is
a lot of different things. I know. I'm, of course, we're still promoting Solving Cases album with me and El the Sensei, and we're still promoting Plant-Based Libtard, my solo album.
That's guys, go out
and we're spinning from both projects. We are spinning from both projects. We're gonna continue to. You always welcome, bro.
Appreciate that. We're still promoting those albums. There'll be a few more videos off both of those records. We just dropped a video Friday for Thoughts Combined off Solving Cases.
Yeah, I got that one actually queued up.
So we, those records are still very much in motion. I've got several things. I've got, as a producer, I'm doing a lot of albums, where it's me on the beats with one MC. Like I've done that kind of in the past already. Cause there was, Jake and the Jukes Man with me and Rusty Jukes.
Okay, yeah.
There was Iron World with me and Rock Mecca. I've done a few. There's Solving Cases with me and El the Sensei.
Yes, sir.
So I've got. I'm doing a few albums like that. I've got an album with Lex the Hexmaster that's almost done.
Right.
Me and Craig G are working on an EP.
Oh no, there's one, bro. This guy's catalog and the people.
It's ridiculous. What they call it? The discography, man.
Like I am a true fan, man, and
that's
why I try to introduce you to as many people as I can. But
I had to
as
give
a
it to
music
him.
lover, I absolutely, man, I dig it, man. I absolutely dig it. And congrats to you and on all your.
When you research
man.
They have the now. You know what? Now that's going to be a campaign. And Guy on the Couch. Guy on the Couch said, "Burn one for you," because he watching your elders and say on YouTube right now. So. He said, "Well, I'm gonna campaign to make sure they put musician in your your resume." As we know, brother. Definitely. It's just thank you for being here. We appreciate having you, brother, because you are one of those humble people who, in the world, do catastrophic for real. It's catastrophic, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the stories you could tell, you're touring, things like that, studio sessions, things like that. Oh, yeah, we'll get. Definitely. He better pull up, or we'll pull up on him.
And Jake, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this joint, I found this. I was a big Boot Camp Click fan.
All right.
Jake, this one was hard, man. So this is Jake Palumbo with Exoskeleton.
Oh, word. Rusty Jukes and Tech.
Smith and Wesson, man. I mean, DJ
Junkeez in the building.
DJ at my first freestyle.
Love our brother Jake Palumbo, the EGOT of independent hip hop. Y'all know it,
man.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, man.
Yeah, feeling good today.
We'll
got our bro in the building.
357radio.com. We got a hip hop junkies here with Jake Palumbo on Happy Sunday.
Worldwide. Thank you. Hip hop day, my brother.
Terrorize your nightmares, bitch, while you dreaming. J-U-double-X, you motherfuckers next. Suplex, nigga, break your motherfucking neck. Murder one case, beat a walk out of court laughing. Lead shower your corpse in the blood bathing. Vampire nocturnal beastin', murder rate increasing, whack rappers deceasing. You fragile and wild with that mad style. Been a bad seed, Jukes was a bad child. My enemies die slow as torture. 3rd-degree burns on your body when I scorch you. Sunblock, unblock, elbow to forehead. Double back, reload, empty out more lead. You duck, dive, dip when I'm dumping. Niggas frontin', got that shotgun pumping.
I storm through your fortress with the force of an elephant. There's not a bitch bone in my exoskeleton. Two puffs of petrol, my brain's turned to gelatin. Ride 99, the city is all mine. If I die tomorrow, they throw me in cuffs. I will not back down to a couple of local toughs. So no, we won't hang around to hear your metaphors. Get the fuck back, Jack. Stand clear, the closing door. Never walk with the sheep, I'm avenging the herd. You expecting Dawson's Creek, this revenge of the nerd. For Netflix and chill, it was blockbuster nights. I used to date a white Russian up in Killer Crown Heights. Mix a white Russian out of breast milk and Nesquik. Mix a hit record on a SSL desk quick. I'm Destro, use some Cobra Commanders. My snare drums get frequently mistaken for hammers. Beats by Palumbo, Thorazine to your thorax. Fleetwood Mac, I cut your cocaine with borax. Dr. Seuss flows, getting shows for 3 or 4 racks. Poet laureate for the groundlings like the Lorax. Send my mail to Graves and Bucktown. When my gray haired uncle plays with guns, you should duck down. Rusty Smith Wesson in the space lab, what now? Touchdown, take the money and run. I storm through your fortress with the force of an elephant. There's not a bitch bone in my exoskeleton. Two puffs of petrol, my brain's turned to gelatin. Ride 99, the city is all mine. If I die tomorrow, they throw me in cuffs. I will not back down to a couple of local toughs. So no, we won't hang around to hear your metaphors. Get the fuck back, Jack.
Clear the closing doors, please. I must be ready for die.
You fucking with the prince of the style. I'm just another great from the 718. It's the silverback outfit on bait. I point fingers and body drop. Leg, chest, headshots. Come through any block. Let the Mac really rock. I remember days when I was at the days end. Bagging up, trying to make a G before days end. I never spoke that.
Nigga, where the smoke
Where the
at?
smoke at? For the Cali on my waist, don't provoke that. I told the banker that I got that. Shoot that like shit. Nigga threw a 5 and I threw 6. Theodorus killed the game, that's for certain. Curtains, waves so thick that you be surfing. You see my niggas, them my niggas for life. Don't get yours cut short. Rest in peace, Sean Price.
I storm through your fortress with the force of an elephant. There's not a bitch bone in my exoskeleton. Two puffs of petrol, my brain's turned to gelatin. Ride 99, the city is all mine. If I die tomorrow, they throw me in cuffs. I will not back down to a couple of local toughs. So no, we won't hang around to hear your metaphors. Get the fuck back, Jack. Stand clear, the closing doors.
Oh, you couldn't let that one roll, Quest. We was rolling. That thing was, yo, you couldn't let that one roll.
We got plenty of time for that. But, you know, Jake, what we were saying earlier, that's why I told you in the email, man, we want to hear, you know, so, you know, what drives you to do the hip hop? I mean, you know, because everybody has their own thing. And we were talking with Pop the Brown Hornet a couple weeks ago. And it's, you know, I asked him, I was like, what makes you go that extra mile where you take from what you write in your notebook, you take it to the microphone, and then take it to that? What makes you,
and
you
then
know,
bring it to the world.
Write rhymes and tell you they're nice, but they'll never express it on a mic. They'll never record it. It's just one of those things they don't do.
You know,
it's a hard question.
This is,
like,
well,
I'm trying to
so
work the best way I can.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't want to sound morbid when I say this. As a disclaimer, I'm not trying to sound morbid when I say this. But about once a day, I can be walking down the street, I can be in the shower, I can be wherever, and it will hit me that I'm going to die and my time is ticking and that I'm one day closer to being dead than I was yesterday.
Yep.
And so I have a panic attack that lasts like 30 seconds and then it goes away and I have a good day for the rest of the day. But my point is this, is that like I've always been driven by the fact that time is non-recoupable. And it doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter how popular you are. It doesn't matter how good looking you are. You can never get more time. And so like, I really only have one at bat in life. And I've been blessed to get up to this point without being destroyed, you know, to you know, still look 29.
All right.
And, you know,
Just
and it's one of those things that, you know, I just really, I feel like if I were to be lazy or if I were to not fulfill my purpose here, I feel like I have a purpose. And I feel like by not fulfilling that I would be thumbing my nose at my creator.
Okay.
You know, like, you know, they always say, you know, out of however many million cells, like you became a person.
Yes.
And, you know, for whatever reason, I'm here and have been given a gift to, you know, to not just to make music, but to be able to be relatable to people enough that,
touching lives.
You know, that, you know, some of the things I have to say can be of benefit to them. So I just feel like, you know, to not give that my all, you know, I'd be thumbing my nose at my creator and all that. So, you know, I just feel like you only have one life and everybody's life has got some type of purpose and whatever that is, go for it with whatever you got.
Here you go. All the work you put in and you put in work all the time. How does Jay Palumbo chill? What do you like to do to kick back, man? How you chill?
You know, honestly, it's I'm a pretty regular dude outside of the studio. Like I am working most of the time, but when I come home, I like to eat. Okay. I like to roll up some gas.
That's right.
I like to watch old pro wrestling. You know, I'll go look at old wrestling and stuff like that. I love to watch documentaries.
Okay.
I'm real into, you know, just I'm an information junkie. Like, and that's kind of why, like,
that's
I'm
my
glad I was
He's
born
like
in the you know, in an era where we've got access to all this information because I just like to learn all the time. Like
knowledge is there. People just
every time I'm staring at my phone when I shouldn't be staring at my phone, the way I justify it to myself is I'm taking in information. I'm learning.
That's right. That's right.
You're gonna have to ask him the question. I bet he's heard of it.
Oh Lord. Okay.
See, I've been trying to flip this sample and I can't figure out which
I apologize
to
you now, Jake.
Like old movies.
Show,
you're a movie guy.
Episode 1 through. Thank you for being here for episode 8, and we will see you soon. He asks everybody, have they seen? What is your movie, man? Come on with it, Quest.
All right. So the sample, man. If you've seen Eddie and the Cruisers, tell me yes, Jake Palumbo. You have seen it.
Well, my parents had the soundtrack to Eddie and the Cruisers on vinyl.
The Big Brown Beaver Band with
John Cafferty and the Big Brown Beaver Band.
I got the vinyl right.
So I don't know what you're gonna ask me. So
no, that's the question. That's just the question.
From the Dark Side, the beginning. Which part?
No, I've never sampled. You know what I did sample? It's never been made into a song, and somebody should actually rap on that beat at some point. But
send it over.
It's called "Season in Hell," Fire Sweet.
That's the other tapes.
It's
the
like
tapes.
the mysterious tape music at the end. I did sample and
Eddie and
make a beat
too.
Right.
When he was like working some shitty construction job in Canada.
You know, when I was a kid, actually, I did. My grandma had HBO. We didn't have cable. We didn't have cable.
HBO, man.
HBO. So my grandma had HBO.
That's what I saw.
I watched Eddie and the Cruisers on HBO, and then my mom and dad had the soundtrack on vinyl. So when I moved out of my parents' house, I pretty much kind of took their record collection with me. For the most part. Like I kind of borrowed it and never returned it.
Right.
But no, I've got actually
Well,
somewhere on these
you
shelves
don't need
over
these
here.
anymore. Here's the CD player.
I've got that vinyl somewhere on these shelves.
I love
Yeah, I got
No, I definitely.
on the dark side. You know how it goes in with the piano in the beginning. It's like, and then it goes into him with just him and the piano.
Should make
Eddie.
it
only the EGOT.
And man, it's like a 58-second sample. Like it's a good long sample, but you can chop that thing, man. I've chopped it 60 ways from Sunday, but I'm also one person who was like, let me try it this way.
80s
and then I won't record what I did. It's a long story. But I ask everybody, I'm like, I gotta flip this sample. That's gonna be like my life's mission. I just flipped Easy Like Sunday Morning. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get sued by Lionel Richie. So that's an accomplishment right there, man.
Matter of fact, you had touched on it earlier. And you keep touching on all my beautiful questions I wanted to ask you. Your impact and your impression in music. I just didn't want to center it to hip hop because you make music. Yeah. And what would you like that to be?
I would like to be remembered as somebody who did it for the right reasons. Meaning like, everybody wants to be successful and everybody wants to pay bills. But like, if I were motivated by money in the music business, like I would have quit over a decade ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like, and even now, like even, being quote unquote successful or whatever, I could get a job with benefits and be off on Friday and Saturday and, have a 401k and I could, have vacation
most of the workday.
You know what I mean? And so I'm saying that to say that like the reason I've tolerated all the headaches of the music business is because my intent is pure. Like I would still be doing exactly what I'm doing if I never made $1 off of it because it exists in me. Now, as far as how I want to be perceived to the world, I've always tried to carry myself as a person who is there to contribute to the pot of hip hop and not just take from it. And, I've always, in the last few years that it's become a vocabulary word, I've always said I have no problem being a guest in the house of hip hop. I feel like a very welcome guest. I feel like I've been given a comfortable bedroom.
You said, and now he's printing money. Like that shit was hilarious. I was dying in the Food Line parking lot yesterday, where you were like, and somebody liking to his record, where you do or whoever's reading that. That shit was hysterical, man.
I'm just always, it's one of those things, and that's why I don't think I've gotten a lot of backlash because there's people that don't like my music, and that's fine. Jake Palumbo is not for everybody.
Hey, haters and fans in denial.
But with that said, like I don't think there's too much anybody could really say about, my intent and like I've always said I just want to be a valid entry in the hip hop encyclopedia. Meaning when I'm dead and we're all dead, and the big encyclopedia of hip hop is written. I just want you to be able to go to Jay and see my name and, he worked with these people and these were the records he made and this is what he stood for. Like,
absolutely.
As long as I am a valid entry in the hip hop encyclopedia, I feel great. Like it's not about the dollar amount. It's not about the fan amount. It's about, leaving something that's going to go on longer than I will as a human. And, making sure that, everybody knew, that I wasn't here to take from the pot, like I'm here to contribute to it. And I really like being here and I'm going to try to be here as long as I can. So I just want to be remembered as a guy that, that did it for the right reasons and who put his all into it, who lived and died for his work.
But you did it with passion, man. And people are scared to fail, so they don't. That's why it goes back to like the battles you don't win with the people closest to you. Some people don't see it the way that you necessarily see it. And Sam told me a long time ago, he gave me great advice. He said, "Look, you're never going to win that fight, but it'll drive you freaking crazy. So let it go, but you do it for the right reasons." And let me ask you a question: doing it for the right reasons. So I've seen the way you play the bass. What bands did you play in? Because I can see you plucking that bass and the way you do it, and you like it too. You even get into the neck movement, man. You get into the old blues guitars, like the Little Feat, the bass player for Little Feat. He's always like, he gets into that joint.
You know, I will, as a disclaimer, I do have a running joke that, you know, I play 6 instruments mediocre. Meaning, like, I'm not a great guitar player. Like, I'm not a great bass player. I'm not a great keyboard player. But, you know, I can make them all do what I need to do.
Right.
And especially today, like with Pro Tools and stuff like that, as long as I can play 4 bars correctly, you know, I can loop that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, in Ableton, I mean, you've even got the warp factor in Ableton where, it's like building blocks.
Right. But no, to answer your question, as far as stuff like that, I've been a big fan of Flea. I like Les Claypool. You know, Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Les Claypool from Primus.
So talk about where'd the punk inspiration? What was your punk band? Like, where'd the inspiration come from in the punk? Reason I ask is, like you were saying, your dad and your family were eclectic. Yeah. My dad's a big blues guy. So he would go from the blues to taking me to see the Butthole Surfers when I was 6 years old. So you know what I mean? And we grew up in DC with Henry Rollins and Black Flag. Shout out to the hardcore scene in DC.
But I was gonna say my 2 favorite punk bands were the Dead Kennedys and Black Flag.
Yeah, the Dead Kennedys are dope. They still play together. They still play. So
yeah, and oddly enough, I try to throw this in too, is that Jello Biafra and Henry Rollins, you know, are kind of, you know, vocal influences on me as a rapper.
Wow. Okay.
You know, because like with Henry Rollins, like, even though, you know, I'm doing something different, I'm rhyming, you know, bars and compound syllables, and he's streaming, but there was something about the rage and like the just the primal scream, like rage.
Even when he talks, though, he delivers it intensely, and people always mistake that as him being an asshole, but it's not.
Anger,
like Henry Rollins is fact based, and he doesn't speak unless he's got the facts. But I mean, Henry Rollins is a cool.
He's you know, he was an influence definitely, and Jello Biafra, the Dead Kennedys too. I would say those are my probably.
You know, I was telling somebody the other day. Have you ever seen the documentary they did for Sound City, where they had it was one of the first Neve console to come into the U.S., where Dave Grohl did it and eventually ended up buying the board. Right. But the one thing that made me laugh was the guitarist for the Pixies that what's his name, Rick Springfield, couldn't play the riff for Jesse's Girl, and the Pixies were down the hall or something like that, and he came in and they brought him on the camera, and he's like, oh hell yeah, that shit's bought my houses, man. But nobody knows that Eddie Van Halen didn't take a dime from Michael Jackson, and that Slash was his tour guitarist for 6 years. I mean, music is so much, it's there, man, but it's like knowledge. People if they don't want it, they're not going to find it.
Right. No, exactly.
And you know, the biggest disease we have is in COVID. It's ignorance, man, and it's everywhere. They passed the Karen law, so that shows how far we've come, man.
Speaking of creativity, what you got up in the jukebox for the great?
Yeah. You're in New York, man. Are you in the
hip hop iconic, legendary? We'll use it. You don't have to, because he's humble, so we will put it on there for you. Hip hop junkies in the building. Yours truly, same shit. Vince, I'm in the ring. I'm doing my thing with my partner in crime, one and only urban legend Jay Quest.
Yeah.
We got the EGOT of independent hip hop, Jake Palumbo, in the building. This is Happy Sunday, man.
So Jake, if you pulling a song right now, like if we go back to say it's the all right, so if you got to go onto your phone, you got to get hype right now. What's the song you pick and you stream it?
That's a good question. Let me go to my phone, because I'm really bad at answering this question. Like, whenever people ask me what music are you listening to, I freeze up like a deer in headlights.
Hey, look, when you said the prog rock thing, look, I'm you know, I like Duran, man, those dudes, but the guys from the guy that was the conductor for, what was it? Frankie Said, they did they had the Frankie Said shirts. What is that guy's name? But they play the festival in England every year where they bring out Rick Astley and shit. That dude's hilarious. Have you ever seen his interviews? Like, he loves being Rick Roll, or when they do the Rick Roll thing. Because he stopped recording to raise his kids, and he's like, his kids didn't even know he sang. He's got the awards all over the house. He's like, they had no clue.
That's crazy.
Looking at my phone, it looks like I've been listening to a lot of UGK lately, actually.
Really? Okay. Now, you got a specific specific song you can go to?
Wood Wheel by UGK probably is something I've been using to get myself pumped up as of late.
I've
been listening to a lot of old rap a lot lately also. Like
the old label?
I'm the whole label. Like I'm very into Jay Prince. Like I listen to his audio biography like it's the Bible.
It's a very good read.
Well, the audio book is really dope. Like I've got the physical book also, but the audio version is really dope.
You know, between him and Jordan Belfort, they both did a really good job about making that book exciting, but you also learn shit in there. But Jay Prince people give him the wrong idea. That guy's a mogul, and he takes care of the people that are around him, that's for sure, but you don't trifle with him.
So, because of that, I've started digging up a lot of old rap a lot. Like, of course, everybody loves the Ghetto Boys, or you should love the Ghetto Boys, but they had Big Mello, they had the Odd Squad, they had there was so many other Fifth Ward boys. Like, there was a lot of other.
I was a DMG fan.
DMG, right?
Yeah, I love DMG. I was DMG.
I've been going back, Gangsta Nip. I've been going back and discovering. That's one thing. Like in the digital era, like nobody should ever complain about not having. You can literally listen to anything you want. At the with the touch of your fingertips. So if the radio is not playing what I'm trying to hear, if I want to listen to some Gangsta Nip album from 1992, I can just go bam bam and it's done. So I try to embrace, because you can't stop change. You can't resist it. So it's we got to at least find the positives in these things. So
shout out to my friend Junkeez, who I had to go to, Jake, and check my ego at the door and all right, so what's hot, man? Because he's 16 and I had to go put my thumb on it, man, because I can't. You can live in the 90s.
You gotta keep your pulse on
the pulse, right?
And being a producer, Jake, a lot nowadays, a lot of it is the producer, and the producers are getting a lot more credit because you never saw the songwriters or the producers. I mean, the richest people in music are the ones who write it. You go to Nashville, you see that.
I do like that trend that, as time goes on, you're seeing a lot more of what we were talking about a moment ago, where, albums are getting made with one producer and one artist, and the producer gets co-billing on the album, on a mainstream level, say like Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist.
Yes.
Or,
even Alchemist and Spit Andretti and Currency.
Or Madlib and Gibbs, or I was very influenced by the DJ Muggs series. Muggs is for 15 years. Muggs has been doing Muggs versus Jizza, Muggs versus Sick Jack.
But he's doing scores for movies too, and a lot of people don't realize
one of the most phenomenal.
He's doing a lot of
producers on this planet.
But I like to see this trend of of producers getting co-billing on the album. And,
absolutely. But you hear the producer tag before the artist, and nowadays, and people know the beats. Like when Metro Boomin, he had a different style in the way to do it. Zaytoven, the way that they created their lane and the way that they rolled into it. But the beat right when you get on it. We broke a track. We got a track from Zaytoven, produced by Zaytoven, but it was hard to believe, but shout out, it was Project Pat's first gospel track.
I love Project Pat.
Man, but his first gospel track, and it was good, man. It was same Project Pat, but it's look at people can change. People change every time. 20 years ago, I was a hip hop snob, man. If it played, I wore my backpack, my Timbs, my baggy jeans, and I stayed with my headphones on. Nowadays, it's just you appreciate it a hell of a lot more. As you get older, it gets simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And music makes everything move. Everybody's got a soundtrack they move to. And that's the cool thing. And like Sam said earlier, you adjust and you move with it. Like you cross over so many boundaries. Like my kid loved it. My teenager, he won't admit.
And you put so many people on.
He was banging it earlier.
You believe in you.
Yeah. But my 16-year-old was banging it earlier, man. Jake, there you go. He tried to say he wasn't, but I caught his ass.
That is unheard of nowadays in what we living in. Because I was looking at something and they were saying how back in the day, everybody was for self. And I like what we're doing nowadays. I don't care what era of hip hop you come from. I love what we're doing nowadays, how we will collab and create together, how we will share each other's markets, each other's brands. We will cross-pollinate with each other to keep this thing we call hip hop bigger and better, and to keep its influence on the world how it is.
Tell us what Pimsy and Prince are meeting the boss.
Yeah, knocking doors down. I very much would like to see more collaboration in between not just regions, but generations, because there's so much working against each other when they should be working together.
Exactly.
And You know, on Plant-Based Libtard, on the first song you asked me about, actually, Same Dollar Buy a Muffin. You know, the kid that is featured on that song, Jarvis Waterfall, you know, he's 21, I think.
Okay.
And comes from a completely different era of hip hop than I come from. Like, you know, his rock hymns are, you know, Odd Future and
Right.
and stuff like that. And so I'm saying that to say that, like, we were able to make a dope song together. I didn't compromise me doing me at all, and he didn't compromise him doing him at all.
Right.
And we were able to find the middle ground. And I would like to see a lot more of that, because that keeps hip hop from progressing, is, you know, when sides are warring with each other and generate, which that's went on from the beginning. I mean,
exactly.
KRS-One was defending himself against Melly Mel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 25, 30 years ago. So, I mean, you know, that's always been there. That's not a recent development. But I'm saying that to say that I would like to see more cross collaboration, because the younger artists can learn from the older artists, because the older artists took a route to get there that was much harder and had to do more development to get there. So I feel like the younger artists could learn, but at the same time, being around young people and being around younger artists can put a shot of steroids into an older artist.
What,
you know, having to be around youthful energy and having to maintain your cool and, you know, put it down, you know, when there's I just like to see more of that.
Since we're movie buffs, it's my Gone in 60 Seconds theory. The babies can teach us things too. So listen to them, and we should be teaching. We've had so much go on that we could, you know, make sure they don't fall down them same pitfalls and go down the wrong avenues. So we should be teaching. And along with that, we should be listening. Just like in your home, when you have children, you listen to your children, or you will learn.
Right.
You will learn. But that's the same energy we should have. Listen to these babies, because they coming up with a new way to do this, because that streaming is something new to us 29-year-olds.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
and they do that. They do that. I mean, all the new what's going on, and you know, they get to everything faster. The information is more prevalent. I mean, what I'm saying, you worked when the information was not out there. You went and sought it, and you were moving before it became information prevalence. So,
well, that's
So somebody like you and what we're doing here tonight with you, the EGOT of independent hip hop, Jake Palumbo, we've been educating people on any range of our music that we love, because you let it be known. Look, I lost this and gained this. I lost this and gained this. You let it be known. I had losses and gains. So don't equate failure to just you lost. You might have to sometimes lose to gain. And you are like living proof of that, brother. 13 years of living proof of inspiration.
Well, so, that's part of why I do those videos, is just to normalize, you know, that failure is just a part of, you know, your road to finding your lane and succeeding. And like I said, trying to destigmatize some of that, like, because especially in the social media filter where we only see the best of the best and what people want you to see, you know, it's one of those things that I feel like, you know, when people can relate to you honestly, you know, it makes them feel not so weird about whatever they might be going through.
Yeah.
And that's really the main thing, is that, like, everything I've learned about the music business, I've learned by hitting my head. I've learned by making a mistake, fucking up, and failing, and figuring out what I did wrong and trying not to do that again.
Definitely.
So, you know, that's definitely something I want to share and normalize with people, is that, you know, it's because there was no, you know, there were books and there were ways that I could learn this stuff, but if I hadn't been such a outgoing maniac information junkie, like, I may not have learned all that stuff, and I might have had a different experience in the music business. I might have quit at year 3 or 4 or 5. So I want to try to prevent people from quitting at year 3 or 4 or 5. And make sure that they understand that, for 99% of us, it's going to be a lengthy 10-year journey or more.
Yeah.
For all but like the smallest percentage of us, like it's going to be a very long road to get there. And I don't know. I want to put a little bit of reality back into the fantasy of social media. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To all my B-boys and B-girls worldwide, you are now tuned in to Happy Sunday. We're here every Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Power357Radio.com. Group Game Music in the building. We are the family.
Now, that's one of those things that you said, though. Social media is one of the things where if you don't like your regular life, man, I mean, that's some of the fun shit, though. I see you have fun with it on social media, is where you get the trolls. Like the one with the letter. I've had artists send me that letter. I don't need you anymore, man. I'm signed. And I'm like, well, first off, check their grammar, because nowadays I get excited over commas and shit. Like if it's grammatically correct, I'll call somebody, man. But it's funny the way that you address it. But there's people that need to realize that there's always somebody out there. I mean, do your due diligence. But the one thing that kills me all the time is artists don't know how to register their work now. They don't know how to register it properly.
That's another thing that I've been fighting for several years, is because I start to realize, I made a post a week or two ago discussing the argument about whether a producer should be entitled to 50% of a record or not. And what became, however you feel about that argument is how you feel, but what became
how did it end up? Because I saw that.
I mean,
what was the overwhelming? Because it's a decent comment, but I mean,
would say that most people sided on the producer end. But what became apparent is that so few people, many of which are artists, are completely unaware of the whole publishing side. Yes. Like they just assume that when they put their music up on streaming services and then it gets streamed and they get whatever money they get, that's where it ends. And one of the reasons, that's again another thing that I've been fighting for, is making sure that they understand that there's a whole separate revenue stream that is entitled to you as the owner of your composition, your lyrics on paper and your music, your musical notes, and the actual sound recording of your music. Like those are two separate copyrights that, that have their own revenue stream completely outside of the money that you get from your distributor and, for streaming or for album sales.
I get in arguments with the 19-year-old kids all the time saying, no, I can't send you the MP3. And I'm like, dude, if I want to, that's okay. I'm not having this conversation. Like they'll argue with you on it.
It's come to realize that even a lot of people that, consider themselves to be full-time musicians are not always sharply educated on that stuff. So I try to show people that, like, yo, if my little underground ass can do this, like, and get actual, checks off of, my airplay. That's the other thing. I don't think people realize that when they're getting airplay on these radio shows, I think they just interpret it as, well, they play my song. They don't register it right.
Cool. There's like 6 people you got to register with to be right, to make sure you double check.
If all that registration is properly handled, then there's a whole other revenue stream available to you.
Yep.
Now it's going to go up and it's going to go down, and sometimes they're big checks and sometimes they're small checks. It just depends on what records you have out at the moment and how well they're doing and who's playing them. But
even if it's a small check, man, it's one of those things that it's like, yeah,
a $30 check is still a check. Like,
hey, look, but you did it with your music, man, and that's like one of the things. Your art made money, and that's cool shit to see.
So that's one thing that I've been fighting for a few years, is trying to make sure that artists are aware of all that, because even with the producer argument, I'm like, well, an artist could give a producer half of the copyright and say this is 50-50, but then make the $500 I paid you for the beat a recoupable advance. Like there's so many
recoupable.
Well, nobody likes recoupable advances,
but people miss that wording all the time.
People, may not understand. Like I think that's what a lot of people's discouragement comes from, not understanding that, like, there's usually a workaround to about everything. Yeah. Because, so often, like, we'll just ram ourselves into the same door that's locked, not realizing that if we just walk around to the side of the building, like, there's an open door over here that you can walk right in. And so, you know, my thing is that I've been that frustrated artist, and I want to, as much as possible, try to quash that for people, you know, to where, like, you know, hey, don't worry about this part. Like, you know, so, but no, that's big, like having your registration and all that, because that's how you actually turn your airplay and stuff into income.
I was eating Z's when you were just sweet one. Less natural, we follow what we run.
What, you got something in the lineup, Quest? You got some Jake Palumbo before we get up out of here?
Sound like Soy Boy with a gun.
And that's new.
Yeah, that's
yes.
all plant-based libtard.
Yes.
Yep.
We can't hear you. Your lovely voice is not entertaining us. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Happy Sunday, powered by SumRadio.com. Every Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., we got the one and only EGOT of independent hip-hop, Jake Palumbo, in the building.
I love the, when he said that earlier when I was trying to find my mic, and I apologize. Jake, if you know me, man, I'm always 20 minutes late, and I apologize. It's not, I was here beforehand, but I can't ever find a microphone when I need it, man. It's
all good.
It's law,
what
right,
did you have in the lineup? Because Jake said that sounded like his new drop, right? His new
sounded like Soy Boy with a gun.
To better the audio, and I'm always over here playing. I'm working with very minimal shit today, so I apologize about that.
Because you took the studio down.
That being said, yeah, I mean, I always got some loaded. You got to understand, and Jake, like I said on my email, Bravo will tell you, I will go down the rabbit hole when people are like, oh, no, you know, just find something. I've had people just straight up laugh hysterically. Like, shout out Hostile Rhymes, Queens, New York. And he was like, where in the hell did you dig that picture up? And he's like, I haven't seen that in 10 years.
Yeah, he does. He will go down there. It's like the Matrix. He sees that white rabbit, he's going.
One of those things, man.
He will go.
White rabbit, look, watch it. Boom. Like, you know. You got Swagoo looking at you, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But no, I was getting into one of Jake's songs that I found from one of his older albums, and I listened to it yesterday. For some reason, it struck a nerve with me. I like the guitar. It's Exit Stage Left was what it was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's on Plant-Based Libtard.
That's a good track, man. I like that track a lot. The guitars and that, I think that's the one with the guitars that I'm pretty sure that's it. But no, I was just kind of messing around here. But Jake, tell us a little bit about the how Plant-Based Libtard came to play as I get this set up for us so we can listen to it. Like, which tracks on those
because the album is dope. The album is dope. That's how I know. That's before that we had connected. And I had connected with you. But when you sent the track with Craig G, and I would say Plant-Based Libtard. Plant-based, and I got excited because I could say it. I was like, he's really cool. I like the way he did this.
But you gotta have favorites on that album, because that album you can play it all your
definitely top to bottom
projects.
All your projects, top to bottom, King. All of them. Salute, King. Thank you. Thank you for giving hip hop that. Thank you. And everybody you work with, thank you.
I would say it's hard for me to pick a favorite on that record, because like I kind of view that all those songs are like they make one big song, kind of like
Understood.
You know. But that kind of started because when I began work on that album, it was right in the middle of the 2020 election season, and I found myself in a lot of social media arguments with guys wearing American flag bandanas and Oakley sunglasses, and the Trump flag in their pickup truck. A lot of my social media posts started getting a lot of shares, and for some reason they would attract like some of the worst comments known to man. Anytime like I would denounce racism or stand up for women's rights or criticize Kyle Rittenhouse or something, there would be this flood of like all this Make America Great Again, keyboard warriors pulling up. And in the midst of this, they kept calling me a libtard because, and so, in the midst of this, I start writing rhymes where, I'm going in and being angry and I'm talking a little political stuff. And, everybody, it's one of those things that, like, if you're gonna say that about me, like, I'm gonna find the ill way to flip it. So in the in the song Same Dollar Buy a Muffin, actually, with Jarvis Waterfall, I had a line that said, Alfred Lord Tennyson, plant-based libtard, I don't want venison. And I just said that just because I just say things to make myself laugh.
Right.
And for days,
there's nothing more involved here than
Quessy, you're very loud. Go ahead, Jay.
So I'm saying that to say that, I laid that verse and sent the song to him. And, for a couple days, I just kept laughing. I was like, I really said plant-based libtard, because I eat a mostly vegetarian diet. Like I eat fish every couple months, but, I mostly eat vegetarian. And so I just kept laughing about that. And like everything in my music, like, it's all an inside joke to make me laugh. And so I just kept saying plant-based libtard and laughing about it. And that was a way that I could kind of flick it back at the people that were in my comment section. Sending me death threats, because I stood up for human rights. You know what I mean?
Right. Human rights. You're getting crazy threats and other crazy things. So, I know kind of some, but
that's just me throwing it back at them,
But no, I love that I call it the crow. You're able to give it back.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, bro.
Word.
I want to say thank you for being here with us, man. You hung out with us. You are family. Like I said, we don't have friends. We have family. You are the EGOT of independent hip hop. You will be hearing me shout you out with that all through our shows. You always welcome. You got a key. You can pull up anytime you like. I don't care what you do. If you have a thought about something you want to do or you want to express it to the world, we're in 160 countries right now. Thank you, bro. You gave us numbers like on a good night. It's like when your favorite bar that pump on Friday through Sunday morning, but like Wednesday night might have a night. If it's Wednesday night, we had a whole weekend. It's Sunday. Happy Sunday. And that's what I'm talking about, Q. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I want to thank everybody that tuned in to us. Cause
I gotta figure that every now and then.
This is just a blessing because, bruh, it's like his music. He gave us him. Yeah, and then we got to learn some things. And people, I hope our B-boys and B-girls listening in, tuned in, got to learn some things about independency and the mainstream side of this thing we call hip-hop. And like I said, the reason we call him the EGOT of independent hip-hop, I'm going to run his credentials down with one more they need to add out there, Wikipedia and Google World. He's a recording mix engineer. He's an MC. He's a DJ. He's a producer.
He's a Renaissance man.
And he's also a musician.
Hey, look, Jake, tell the people that are listening out there, like Sam said, we're in 160 countries. We got some good numbers, man. You got some fans, man.
Thank you.
That's shit that is crazy because you've seen the countries go up as we're doing the interview.
Yep. Yes. Nice. Thank you for your time.
Man. I sent it to my DJ over in Milan. Shout out Mateo.
Thanks everybody that watched it because, like I said, I give everybody a nickname every week. But I am proud this week to bless the EGOT of independent hip hop, Jake Palumbo in the building.
See, I've been trying to see. You said, like I said, you can come on anytime you want.
Yes,
I've been trying to get Sam as we get the hang of the show, and it's starting to catch traction. And it's easy to have a conversation with a guy I've known for 30 years. You know what I mean? It makes it fun because me and him went from comic books to music to back to music. But we're trying to figure out a segment, so we might use you as like we ask an artist and they got to be the calls got to be the Jake P. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So
it's like the $1 million show.
As my childhood, we share childhood thing, PWI.
The wrestling,
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
I heard that shit earlier when I was getting the mic set up, and I was like, "Oh, Sam,
that childhood love, brother."
Bro, I have the PWI almanac.
What?
On my bookshelf somewhere in here, I've got like 2 or 3 years of the PWI almanac. Actually, so no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So check this out. I went to school with Big John Stud's kids.
Really? Oh wow!
Yes,
man.
And they people used to fuck with him and say wrestling's not real. And Big John Stud was a big dude, man. When that dude walked in, like the stage would creak. Like, nah, man.
Y'all know how I end every show for all the ladies listening.
But Jake,
If you are not nasty, freaky, and disgusting, please meet
Oh,
me
here
at
we go.
the Hot
Here
Nacho
it is.
Cheese stand. I'll be standing
Right
there with
there.
a fried fish sandwich and some Tabasco.
Tell him, Sam. That's right, ladies. And if that's closed, he will be at the taco truck. Look for the grease stains on the white T-shirt. Now, Jake, tell these people on Happy Sunday where they can get a hold of you. Is there any information you want us to put and relay to them if they want to book sessions? Because I had an artist I referred to you. He lives in Yonkers. They live in Yonkers in Brooklyn, but I told him to go find you because they were paying ridiculous prices for a TV sitting on a dresser with some Friday Debo draws hanging off the soda cup sitting there, man. So,
you can go to jakepalumbo.com. You can find me on all social media at Jake Palumbo. I'm most active on Instagram, but you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me pretty much everywhere.
And BeatStars, you have a BeatStars page too for inspiring MCs,
beats,
correct?
Yeah, if you need beats or production, you can go to jakepalumbo.beatstars.com. There's over 200 beats on there. There's a lot to keep you busy.
Sam, you already know what I'm thinking.
Different styles and different stuff like that. As far as I'm easy to reach in terms of if you want to book me for anything, whether you need studio or whether you want me to do a verse or a show or a beat or whatever,
But it also looks like you answer questions, and I think that's what most people are scared of is when they approach an engineer or somebody, they're just dickheads.
Make sure you tuned in now. Put Jake Palumbo in your playlist. Make sure you got Jake Palumbo on all your music streaming platforms. Jake Palumbo. I would advise you to, as a consigliere, just go stream everything, Jake Palumbo.
Oh yeah, Jake. By the way, to us, you made it in the book, bro. You're in the book,
definitely.
You have the bold and italic handwriting there, man. So you're good, man. We get that underline under there soon, man. We'll be good.
It feels good, man. Thank you.
You know how us young guys use the computer and try to work with text. I'm like, all right, I gotta highlight this and move on.
You already know we'll be screaming at you Tuesday, man, because we gonna spend everything we got. Our arms over here excited. I already gave him the green light. We here with you. Thank you.
You may get a random email from me. I think that we're gonna need, because Sam here is a certified killer on the mic too. So I've been trying to tell him that you need a Jake Palumbo beat. So I've been sending your Instagram videos, and I've been sending the BeatStar beats. So he'll find what he likes. But I always send him beats. I'm like, nobody could rhyme over this for the last 3 years. He'll send it back in an hour.
You may get a mysterious
man. Like
email.
If
you saying yeah, you'll learn me quick. You may get you're going to get a mysterious email.
Hey, look, like I told my son the other day,
it will be an entire contribution.
If I would have told my dad I can't or I don't know how to do this, he would have been like, well, have fun out here until you figure it out.
Yeah,
and that's the same.
My mom wouldn't let you say try and can't. My mom,
don't let him say try and can't. That's what I was saying with Sam.
My mom would be like,
But as Sam, he'll call me with a random sample, like a 2-second sample. They'll try to get me all the time, my whole crew. And I've known most of these guys for 30 years, but they'll play something like 10 seconds or 5 seconds and try to stump me. They've never stumped me. Telling you, man, it's the music, it's the universal language. But guys, people out there listening, 160 countries.
Anything new, anything you want to drop, anything you want to bring through, you send it, we spin it, King.
Yeah, you got anything exciting they need to check out?
Everybody,
you got anything exciting that the people need to hear? Any artists you work with that you like? People that are making some noise like you. Like, there's artists out there that are undiscovered because people just don't know where to look.
No, definitely, and I've got a few projects like that in the works. Like me and my man Westside Ward got a whole album together.
I saw that on the Instagram.
He was in the group Gotham Heights.
But you did something with somebody recently. You said it was a couple years between breaks. Did it begin with an M? I want to say it was like last week or so. You were getting into a project. You said that you were doing a project. You said you and him hadn't worked in a while. I gotta look.
That was Ward. Yeah. That's Ward.
Yeah.
He had fell back from music for a little bit and became a YouTube personality.
Okay.
And but no, we got a 10-song album that it's finished. We're
gonna
be mixing that soon. So yeah, like I said,
Jake Palumbo, it's Happy Sunday. We're gonna lead you off with that one you were just talking about, the new video. You want to lead him into it and tell him who you're listening to?
Yeah, this is El the Sensei and Jake Palumbo, Thoughts Combined, off the album Solving Cases. Video just dropped on Friday. Album is still available everywhere. There's limited CDs left. If you want a physical copy, you could go to the Space Lab Bandcamp page and order CDs. This is the 4th single off the album and the 4th video. So
Do you have any vinyls sitting around that I can order from that page?
Not vinyl at the moment, but there's CDs for certain releases.
Okay.
We may do vinyl for Solving Cases and Plant-Based Libtard. It's
you do a promo run for it. Let me know, man.
The pressing plants are backed up pretty hard. It's about a 12 to 18 month turnaround on getting vinyl right now.
They got a place where I'm in the 757 where they do a pretty good quick turnaround. I found out from another artist recently, but it was interesting to see how they did it. But they found the niche in the market and it was like they hit it, man. I mean, that's a hustle right there. Definitely. The one thing I collected that people always are amazed of. I don't know if you can see it behind me, but it's I collect the original playbills from shows. That's with Marvin Gaye and Ray Charles in 1978, man. Nice. But I love that shit. So if you ever get a poster or a playbill, man, autograph and send it over to me, man. We'll put you up there next to
you gotta make two because we did you right here on the wall too. Now you gotta make two.
Jake, thanks, man. Me and Sam were looking forward to this one, man.
We were hyped. Yes, bro. Thanks for being here.
And happy belated birthday, 26.
Yes, sir. Keep celebrating and enjoy. 13 years of independence, the EGOT of independent hip hop, Jake Palumbo. We'll see y'all next Sunday.
And Jake is one of them dudes, and he did it. Just put your nose to the grindstone, man. One foot in front of the other. Bring it. Have love for the craft. Jake, pleasure, man. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all having me, man.
All right, later.
Love, King.
Bricks in the bronze, extra special remorse, legibly sharp and street smart, swimming with the sharks, more than you want. Sour diesel filling my blunt, clutching the crunch, corrupt like seeking for your lunch, flows in a bunch, hurry and flurry of verbal stunts, syllables dump and thump like worthy glorious dumps, accordingly bust, no time for us, lust for the bread, comfortable bed, my lady giving marvelous head, I'm wildin' out, near cannon, I'm close, spinning for cloud, flying miles south for bouts, tip, we vibing out, live bangers, no strangers for heaters, notice repeaters, flaming up your booth for a feature, fiery speaker, chase sneakers always on foot, mass transit low bid to keeping all of y'all shook. Off the books, mind crook, more stable, more able to me, you just crumbs under the table. Thoughts, combine, rhymes, books, designed from my mind, leaving every MC shook. Broad lines, we incline, y'all crooks, we loud co-signed by the crowd from the hook. Align, bars, styles, input, no decline, we evolve, always be a good look. Thoughts, combine, rhymes, books, designed from my mind, leaving every MC shook.
Y'all know who the dark? No, I'm the highest trump here. Mind and altered states that elevate beyond the final frontier. Got all eyes, no need to explain when I enter in. Love the feminine women that be sweeter than cinnamon. If she's a real woman, I'm the perfect gentleman. If not, bitches get dogged harder than a kennel. And then strong and been out of shape. Violent, blowing up my phone every 5 minutes. They dialing, wildin'. Want me to stick them just like some tiling. Determined to get me all alone like I was an island. So many big butts smiling, but I can't trust them. Can't crush them all. End of discussion. I'm killing percussion like the funky drummer. Put it together like Wonder Rama. Chop your shit up in front of your face, Benny Hanna. So when you see me, I'ma strip the hardest track down. Put a bikini on her, bust her down to a bikini on her.
Rhymes, books, designed from my mind, leaving every MC shook. Broad lines, we incline, y'all crooks. We loud co-signed by the crowd from the hook. Align, bars, styles, input, no decline, we evolve, always be a good look. Thoughts, combine, rhymes, books, designed from my mind, leaving every MC shook. Core maestro, tight flows, brighter than Tycho night glows. Round delightful and body slam like Monday Nitro. Spiteful and nightfall, I try to survival. Saliva rocket way past bed that lost bravado. Provide drama, mayhem, cause in all states. Nationwide shine, board gate, deliver every tour date. Cool 60 degrees, shifty when I read, cotton like cream. The force compared to Whittaker speed. Consider this heat, controlled substance sold on the street. Breaking bad motherfuckers undercover like sheets. Rather unique, we clap rappers battling traps. Chatter on beats, react fast, a master of speed. Your newbies lack focus, react ferocious on the down. At the drop lines, unloaded and quoted in the vine. Motor mouth, never sold out apparently. Smoking gonna be a jacket in order to find your family. Thoughts, combine, crowd from the hook. A line, bars, styles, input. No decline, we evolve, always be a good look. Thoughts, combine, rhymes, books. Designed from my mind, leaving every MC shook. The time is now for me to shine. Believe me, son. Believe me, son.
You know my function.
This is something that you need to hear.
Dope beats and rhymes, hardcore. And let's start it like this, son.
Keeping it real.
Yo, this is Timbo King live in New York City. You already know Grandmaster Cash. We here in the flesh from Medina to Marseille. Shout out to I Am Funky Family, Seth U, Soprano. Shout out to Mafia, Shakria, Dixon. Shout out to Cut Killer, Canal Plus. You know what I'm saying? That's the French connection. You already know that's how cocaine came to New York City. You already know that.
Pressure when it's last minute, late in the game, adrenaline fill. Practicing from disorder field, serving the pill that many wish to order and dime. Record on the dime, supported shine since it was on. Call me backpack, fuck that, clapping that whole area. Relevant work plus, listeners take me serious. For real. Sharp pinpoint, jotting is anonymous. The fans obvious, lobbyists now a voice synonymous. So honorable sound and stripes served lyrically, like your boy visiting, never getting rid of me. Jersey epitome, history told his star ledger. I'm far better than past winners and beer sweaters. A script letters, the trendsetter and feature roles. Select the flows, the vendetta from old. Times great, music can escape from the norm. Cheers from cold beers and spitting that's monitor for form. What you call genius is everyday apparatus. Always automatic like gunnery rat-a-tatted. 9 tatted lines formatted through conveyor belts. Death over beats, more them seas like the mayor felt. And Brick City docks, bars, chicks, titties pop. Dollar tips, weed sales, how my city rocks. Never second guess jeans for the normal press. No crease, low fleece, no beats vest. Never question the age and if the voice sputters. Your motherfuckers is comical, yet I'm so butters. Blue bonnet, I'm too sonic, improve logic. I spew vomit and do chronic, I'm do homage. Few got it, I knew hottest, put out garbage. Lawless, claim charges who did it the hardest. Die, Bruce Willis, cut scenes, see me spraying it. First person shooter, scope aim while I'm saying it. Yeah. In time we invest, in time is a rest for the best by far. All agree? No contest. So obvious, I'm blessed kindly. So much to press, rap to rewind me. In dirt we trust and what is timely and bust lively like corner boys aim blindly. Time heals wounds, change bring blooms. April showers and new things for new tunes. 5-star rooms, updated and groomed. Smashing up the stage till the crowd swoons. Each storm's bully, pull it off lovely. Festivals lovely and sabotage still floods me. Fully automatic but the flow's still attractive. Prowess unpredictable in minutes have you captive. Jotted in spurts like clockwork. Always make it difficult and hard pressed when we rock first. It's time to go down. It's about to go down. You got to give it up. We spit it underground. Hands up at the sound of the beat. About time for the shine. About time for the heat. It's time to go down. It's about to go down. You got to give it up. We spit it underground. Hands up at the sound of the beat. About time for the shine. About time for the heat. We on that TikTok, never on snooze. Bring the alarm, I charm all schools. Bonfire boost, inspired to shoot. And prior moves set me up for my further caboose. Longevity keeps me recognized the word heavy. D, later when my funds come steady. Ladies think of you when I'm writing my songs. Never exclude your views when you want your lyrics strong. Learn to play the middle. I keep my riddle short, cause some fans want it simple like a small claim court. Your shit is mediocre. I keep my shit sharp, whether weeded or sober. Control the body rock. Music for yearly basis. Took over all bases. Create a new playlist for the fans that waited. I know you're persuaded. My mic is gold plated. Lyrics are upgraded. Beats present the latest. It's time to go down. It's time to go down. You got to give it up. sound of the beat. About time for the shine, about time for the beat. It's time to go down, it's time to go down. We got to give it up, we spit it underground. Hands up at the sound of the beat. About time for the shine, about time for the beat.
Communément, shit, les vraiment sont une comme une hélice. Shit, chaud comme les télédance floors, inégal mon sport, juvénile, attraque tes wack. Les haies comme les pauvres, disponibles, sous et sous, c'est comme une cédille, comme ça c'est dit, mais jugé tard, pas crédible, ça se fait pas. Ça c'est comme bis, Papa et Freddy, crash, à tes risques et périls, j'ai pas de face, pas terrible, brogue la place comme les clashs là. Casse, bah j'maîtrise, utilise, c'est qui ce MC lyriciste, c'est Darwan, kick avec un Brick City Kid. Tout le boulevard, sur le boomba, des boubas, tout bas, tout fla, MLK boulevard. Libre comme le Cuba, et pas coupable de Cuba. Fais l'amour à la coupe, ça que la coupe me loupe pas. Comme un choc de Jordan, dans le money time pour la victoire. Ou un rendez-vous avec l'histoire.
We loading the barrel with high explosive ammo. Compatible in battle and anger, we're out for power. Rhymes in the satchel and nitro, we're rapping leisurely. Crush a nigga and wrestle on music expeditiously. Effective easily, lines breezy and certified. Live action and sequence to lead these points for better vibes. Ties bound sound, but now George's official black.
Say they want that old Dave back.
Money, I was mesmerized. So now these rappers fabricated. Nowadays he sell an eighth and then exaggerated. A quick quarter, now we tag a rich quarter. Never cage UPS, he sell an eighth and then exaggerate. I get a call when it snips on his shit quarter. Rhymes like coke and baking soda when it hit water. They pin dragging, ain't got nothing on this author off the pin dragging. Lately I've been blacking. Some other rappers was alright, lately they been slacking. I heard they tricking all they chicken fuckers they thinking. I'm trying to sit on my paper like Abe Lincoln. Fisher.
Yo, for all you niggas out there getting money, you know what I'm saying? Coney Brooks and Maserati money, and I'm AB from the Bronx. Friend turns to foes. Trust no one. You know what I'm saying? It's about getting money, getting honeys, and getting paid, and laying in the shade. This is how we do.
Niggas wanna be the live, nigga, the top, nigga, the type to try to take your spot. Don't keep your eye on them. Type of niggas that be plotting, hope you rock quick.
Trial. 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 Trial.
First thought, step with your head up when you greet me. You think this shit is easy? If I told you what I seen, you wouldn't believe me. I've been pacing on my 10, watching niggas get the plot. And when that chicken come and play, they like to play and it get awkward. Pocket watching. So when we get rockets, now what's the problem? Fuck a goon, I'm a goblin, my nigga, welcome to Gotham. Red dot him. My main option is let him have it, cause it's me or you, and putting others first became a habit. From the city where they put you on a plate like a salad, I'm a savage. 3 to the dome became the average. For a buck, niggas pivot the corner like Ray Allen. For a pint, fiends pouring your fluid out by the gallon. You think the streets love you, you delusional. Money been the motive, they been using you. Snakes and rats, they turn cat when the dogs come out. And best friends become foe at your funeral.
Niggas wanna be the live nigga, the top nigga, the type to try to take your spot, don't keep your eye on them. Type of niggas that be plotting, hope you rock quick, but always there with a hand out when you grinding. Niggas wanna be the live nigga, the top nigga, the type to try to take your spot, don't keep your eye on them. Type of niggas that be plotting, hope you rock quick, but always there with a hand out when you grinding.
Don't mind me, I just gotta get this off my chest, man. 825-83, open my eyes, the world welcome me. Arguably one of the realest niggas you'll ever meet. Greatest never signed, call me Manigo. They say I'm too aggressive though. Type to press the cannon till your cannon low. How they gon' criticize God's plan? He could've took me off this earth when that car crashed, but when that truck flipped, when I was out there doing that dumb shit. Shorty troubled, ready to rumble, ran with the wild click. JDB, I'ma scream until I DIE, cause I know if I call, they gon' ride for me. The questions asked, no reason needed. I fly a kite, it's gonna get completed. I cannot be defeated. I'm from a place where they don't show love, so I gotta go nuts, cause the feds locking all the pros up. I like these authors' novels, but they stories fiction. See, I'm like to the prophet, searching through you niggas' history. Ball. They say the homie Dave a maniac. That dumb nigga don't know how to act. Shit, I've been defensive since my mama sold my day for crack. Used to be homeless, sleeping on my homie building steps. Try to take what's mine is only right, you know that you can left. It's cause they from the bottom, never see the struggle. You live good, I can really tell your parents loved you. Keyword parents, mama was there, my daddy wasn't shit. Every chick I ever fucked was probably a cousin. Look, ran with a deep mob, used to leave one shook. Rockin' cooks cash while my cash filled with wild clips. Went to school and dropped out, cause I wasn't learning nothing. Fucked up my first 3 packs, I wasn't earning nothing. The old head had to sit me down, nigga, cause he didn't wanna put me in the ground, nigga. I stand here on my own too, respect due. Snapping on beats like designer do. D-Day. Nowhere else. Fast. When you really need to take it slow. Fast. But when I feel down, now a nigga got a fan base, but I gotta take care of family. What a right bars, but I'm chasing this money every day. Should've been on by now, but I had to shed the snakes. For high stakes, your loved ones will put you on a plate. Hatred for friendlies kept the nigga focused. Ulterior motives, lose you niggas was focused. I don't believe your stories, you niggas bogus. You people shady, so bizarre, man. You niggas imposters, they try to play me. Raps, Bruce Banner, they gon' like me if I'm angry. I leave a nigga shaking just for hitting that I'm shaky. Too much liquid coverage got you niggas acting crazy. All I did was show love, but they still decide to hate me. I'm still in these streets, knees deep, where we don't sleep. Vibes creep up on your BM street, the handle beat. It's D-Dave if you didn't know. We enterprising out to get the dough, cause sucker niggas went and stole the soul. Boss.
Yeah. No matter how long it takes. Spiraling up, just like a rich nigga staircase. No fly zone, please stay the fuck out my airspace. Niggas say things behind back, shit they wouldn't dare say. Know it's on sight when I see you, I'm working at Squarespace.
Yeah, top of the morning, I know that you thought I was dormant. Woke up early from shots that was swarming, a block from the outs, now the cops in the orbit. Cause somebody got popped, now they knocking on doors, trying to find an informant. But I ain't seen Nathan, I'm minding my business, as God is my witness. The weapon gon' prosper that's forming against me. Nigga, I'm starving immensely. Know when I'm done with these songs, you gon' miss me. John Moran, I'm on my grizzly. You niggas just cuz, but no, not the ones in the big leagues. After the fall off, I promise I'm coming and selling out Wrigley's. Nigga, I'm just a product of poverty, full of narcotics to profit off quickly. My family tree got a history of users that struggle with demons, not really the hustler instincts. Therefore, often my pockets was empty. So while some of my partner was serving up racks on the corners of project assemblies, me, I was starting to envy. Wanna be on the top where it's plenty. Wanna be in the spotlight where every bitch want me, like Rihanna dropping new Fenty. What I see in the sky, the villas of Scylla can't reach up too high evidently. Nah, shit. I can't reach up too high evidently. Never seen no one driving a Bentley. I can't be out here mopping up Wendy's.
My life is all I have. My rhymes, my pen, my pad. And I done made it out the struggle, don't judge me. What you're saying now won't budge me. Cause where I come from, so often people you grow with laying in a coffin. But I done made it through the pain and strife. It's my time now, my world, my life, my life.
Say what? The stuff that I seen got me traumatized. I let the K go when Johnny died. Swinging that motherfucker side to side. We don't participate, ain't with that squashy shit. All we believe in is homicide. I got a good heart, so I send teddy bears every time we make they mamas cry. I pray that my past ain't ahead of me. 21. When I'm in love, I love heavily. If you betray me, you dead to me. 21. I disrespect you respectfully. Straight up. I got some partners who left this earth. Maybe the pain made it better. On God. Just know that they secrets is kept with me. God. I feel like the streets is in debt with me. Up. I gave my heart away to all the dog hoes, cause that's who accepted me. 21. I blame my pops for that shit, cause if he didn't fail, he could've corrected me. 21. Give all the props to my mama, cause no matter what, she always protected me. God. I promise you it ain't no checking me. God. Jump in the water, get wet with me. 21. 21. You want my money or wanna have sex with me? Can't let the odds of the law get the best of me. I get the answer and you get the test of me. I see chicken, you niggas is breasting me. Planted a seed, but it ain't a sesame. Can't let you niggas or bitches grow next to me.
My life is all I have. My rhymes, my pen, my pad. And I done made it out the struggle, don't judge me. What you're saying now won't budge me. Cause where I come from, so often people you grow with laying in a coffin. But I done made it through the pain and strife. It's my time now, my world, my life, my life.
Yo, I feel like this generation done strayed away. Cause the adolescents don't respect OGs who paved the way. Old timers coming home telling us fuck the feds. Can't get they point across to us, we knuckleheads. Hate to see the youth in the spot, cause they be trying to be low. And the young is always making it hot. Young hitters say the old heads beast too much. They want too much control and they preach too much. Forget them days you was moving around. What you did when you was younger, that's the shit we doing right now. So I never let them get me upset. It ain't about respecting my elders, it's about mutual respect. I'm a man of honor, I learned to maneuver that. When it come to respect, age shouldn't have nothing to do with that. Us together's a scary sight. Just imagine if the OGs and the young hitters unite. The OGs say the youngin' ain't respecting his age, and the youngin' say the OG is too stuck in his ways. I'm just smoking on the sour, trying to puff it away. I'm just smoking on the sour, trying to puff it away.
The OGs think the youngins ain't got nothing to say. Youngins say the OGs stuck back in the days. I'm just lighting up this hour, trying to puff it away. I'm just lighting up this hour, trying to puff it away. Hey, how we don't teach them, but expect these cats to know the code. They say that youth is wasted on the young and wisdom on the old. Young niggas crazy, riding around Glock cock back. Old niggas coming home and trying to get the block back. My little homie on his heavy selling cane shit. Wanna tell him chill, but I used to do the same shit. Gave him his first pack, told him let the work stack. Now I see the man he became, I helped birth that. But at the same time now, they got different morals. They let it go in the crowd, niggas switch the war rules. I'm in the middle, a lot of older gangsters know me, but I got a bunch of young cats, to them I'm the OG. There's a disconnect, somebody do a write-up. Cause shit been like this since I was in Cross Mic Up. It's just another tool they use to divide us. But that's that Willie Lynch syndrome that live inside us.
OG say the youngin' ain't respecting his age, and the youngin' say the OG is too stuck in his ways. I'm just smoking on the sour, trying to puff it away. I'm just smoking on the sour, trying to puff it away.
The OGs think the youngins ain't got nothing to say. Youngins say the OGs stuck back in the days. I'm just lighting up this sour, trying to puff it away. I'm just lighting up this sour, trying to puff it away. Hey. Yeah. Fuck is these niggas? Yeah. Ain't put no work in nowhere. Gotta put work in to get something over here, nigga. Fuck out of here. Nigga, I paid my dues. Nigga, I made my moves. And I always stay true. My name Fisher, who are you? Nigga, I paid my dues. Nigga, I made my moves. And I always stay true. My name Fisher, who are you, motherfucker? Look, time to show the world really who the best at this. Sitting on my throne laughing like I expected this. Check the list of the pessimists. They ain't wanna believe they heretics. All my sons don't know they heritage. Ever since my moms ain't had that green for them Jordans, I've been watching for the freeze on them.
Real ass bitch, give a fuck about a nigga. Big Birkin bag, hold 5-6 figures. Stripes on my ass, so he call his pussy tigger. Fucking on a scamming ass, rich ass nigga. Same group of bitches, ain't no ass to the picture. Drop a couple racks, watch his ass get bigger. Tricking on licking, I'm looking at your nigga. If it's money right, he can eat it like a snicker. I ain't got time for you fake ass hoes. Talking all loud in them fake ass clothes. Fake ass shoes, match that fake ass coat. I'm the realest bitch ever see you snake ass hoes. Act up, you could get snatched up. Act up, you could get snatched up. Act up, you could get snatched up. Dirty ass, baby girl, you need to back up. It's your Miami and I can't run my stack up. Tired ass hoes in my page tryna track us. Brand new chain city girls going platinum. I keep a baby Glock, I ain't fighting with no random, period. You bitches weak, is you serious? I let him taste the pussy, now he acting all delirious. Did his dash in the rubber like his face is furious. You see my number in his phone, now you acting curious. He gon' buy me Gucci if I ask for it. He a classy nigga walking tongue for it. I bet your little sister wanna look like me. I bet your little brother wanna fuck on me. Hood bitch, good pussy, I ain't average. He can't come around without that cabbage. Pop a pussy bitch quick like a bubble gum. I ain't never worry, I just deal with it for fun. Act up, you could get snatched up. Act up, you could get snatched up. Act up, you could get snatched up. Dirty ass, baby girl, you need to back up. JT on the track, and you know I'm by my paper. Pussy sweet, pussy tight, so he caught a lifesaver. If your ass a broke nigga, hell nah, I can't date you. If your ass a rich nigga, I'ma fuck you till you ain't one. If that nigga scammer, I'm turning to a dancer. I make it clap like he got the right answer. Sit on it with manners, get it harder than a hammer. He want a freak, pussy pink, breast cancer. Oh, you like big butts, well I like big butts. I don't care about your chain, nigga, or your big truck. Yeah, I know you getting it, but if you spinning it, give a fuck what a nigga got if he ain't giving it. Bad ass bitch, bad attitude. Nails done, hair done, ass too. Yo, baby that he fucking me and sucking me. He don't answer you, bitch, that's because of me. Act up, you could get snatched up. Act up, you could get snatched up. Act up, you could get snatched up. Dirty ass, baby girl, you need to back up.
Hey, this shit like videos, you hear me? Everything I'm saying in this motherfucker is all props.
This shit is not real.
Just in case the police listen, I mean,
High speed music.
Slide.
Man,
don't respond to shit with Vaughn. I'm like, fuck it, you trippin'. Go get your gun. They dropping locations. I'm getting it done. Fuck tweeting, we sliding. The feds are coming. He fucking his bitches. Them niggas, his son. I'm hanging with killers. We breaking a bond. They really don't mean it. He say it in songs. They really don't mean it. He play it in songs. We been sliding through they blocks and they don't know we have. Buddy ass got shot and we ain't claiming, but I can show his ass. that's our only chance. They don't be outside like you think they ass be on the gram. Old ops fucking with my new ops. Oh man, that shit Murphy been through there. That shit like Ghostland. My brother D-Thing just got killed and I've been slow since. But we got back on their ass, I bet they know this. And on bro, I'm speaking facts, this ain't no diss. Keep the police out my business, we don't post shit. Trigger happy, I be with Zoon and we on 4-6. They like Dirk, his ass a singer, he won't smoke shit. You can bleed whatever you want, I got your folks hit. Don't respond to shit with Vaughn. I'm like, fuck it, you trippin'. Go get your gun. They dropping locations, I'm getting it done. Fuck tweeting, we sliding. The feds will come. We fucking his bitches, them niggas, his son. I'm hanging with killers, we breaking a bond. They really don't mean it. He say it in songs. They really don't mean it. He play it in songs. He talking about me and piss me off, and I'm like, yes. If you feel some type of way, you better slide and get revenge. He say therapy ain't helping, he been killing for a cleanse. She say she don't really got shit, but she so thirsty for a binge. I just made her suck my dick and I just nutted on her chin. I been feeling like Rico, I just fucked her in my Timbs. For school he said no pen, he rather carry him a gin. A 10, FN, perk 10, I'm saying, he spin. You need a pill to slide, he off all the milligrams, he been a fan. I seen niggas really killing shit, post shit on Instagram. You doing that, you might as well go to court and say you killed a man. I don't claim niggas who be with ops, I tried to will them in. The trenches like a sport, you grab that ball and turn to killer man. Switches on me, all face shots, we changing dental plans. All fast cars, make it we don't do rental vans. I can have your homie set you up, his ass a middleman. Don't respond to shit with Vaughn. I'm like, fuck it, you trippin'. Go get your gun. They dropping locations, I'm getting it done. Fuck tweeting, we sliding. The feds will come. We fucking his bitches, them niggas, his son. I'm hanging with killers, we breaking a bond. They really don't mean it. He say it in songs. They really don't mean it. He play it in songs.
They're riding my brain, love. These hoes are sad. I admit it, another hoe got me finished. Broke my heart, oh no you didn't. Fuck sipping, I'ma down a whole bottle. Hard liquor, hard truth, can't swallow. Need a bartender, put me out my sorrow. Wake up the next day in the Monte Carlo with a new woman. Tell me shit from Colorado when she love women. She'll be gone by tomorrow, who am I kidding? All this jealousy and
for the gram. Bitches love the gram.
Oh, wait, shit.
Don't need no breaks.
Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Met her at a party in the hills, yeah. She just wanna do it for the thrill, yeah. Shorty drive a poodle with no top. But if I throw this money, she gon' drop. Ay, she don't wait in lines if it's too long. She don't drive the whip unless the roof off. Only wanna call when the cash out. Only take the pic when the ass out. She from Malibu. If you ain't got a foreign, then she laugh at you. Malibu. Spending daddy's money with an attitude. Roxanne. All she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. In LA, yeah, got no brakes, yeah. Living fast, Ricky Bobby shaking bait, yeah. See the chain, yeah, it's a late, yeah. Swipe the chase, ooh, now she wanna date, yeah. Straight and no blue, on the coast, ooh. Shorty only like cocaine and Whole Foods, yeah. Snapping all up on the grandmas, going crazy. Now she wanna fuck me in the foreign, going ayy. Up in Malibu. If you ain't got a foreign, then she laugh at you. Malibu. Spending daddy's money with an attitude. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night.
Gun them down, what up, Eddie? Gun them down, oh my God, you dig? 999 shit, when I'm in town, parties going down, you dig? Shoot them down, with a 50 round, you dig? Run the town, ballin' how you at about, so much money, damn it, I forgot to count, look at my bank account, look at the cash amount, I get the cash amount, I do the dash amount, look at my bank account, look at the cash amount, I get the cash amount, I just be cashing out, walking that bitch and I'm faded, I fuck that bitch when I'm faded, I got the M&M's, I call my mom, told her I made it, yeah, mama, your son too famous, he on everybody's playlist, but he still armed and dangerous, he a pop at a stranger, sipping lean cliche, I still do it anyway, red or purple in a cup, which one shall I pick today, ay, sipping hard, gun on me, no need for bodyguard, aim at your body parts, yeah, take off your body parts, yeah, I'm swinging when I'm off the ecstasy, that's a Molly Park, yeah, iron on me, that's a Tony Stark, yeah, pouring falls in a 20-ounce soda pop, yeah, I'm OC, 3 grand wood full of OG, get BM dick like Moby, gun make him flash Adobe, pay up that cash you owe me, yeah, bitch I need it, matter of fact fuck that shit, I'm rich, you can keep it, yeah, damn, rich niggas over here, yeah, broke niggas over there, damn, why's you over here, go over there, yeah, I'm in town, parties going down, shoot them down, with a 50 round, run the town, ballin' how you at about, so much money, damn it, I forgot to count, look at my my bank account. Look at the cash amount. I get the cash amount. I do the dash amount. Look at my bank account. Look at the cash amount. I get the cash amount. I just be cashing out.
Yeah. Shawty really bad. Words every frame, something like a bad. Well, want your love, call me when you can. Girl, going up, going down, in and out, turn around. Shawty really bad. Words every frame, something like a bad. Well, want your love, call me when you can. Girl, going up, going down, in and out, turn around. Love the way you moving now. I might be insane, yeah, but I love the pain, yeah. I feel it in my brain, yeah. Oh, real love, she just wanna get right, 'cause I get them shawty back.
Hey shawty, let me see you get naughty. Turn that ass around and back it up on me, yeah. I like it right there where you popping that ass like you just don't care. Hey shawty, let me see you get naughty. Turn that ass around and back it up on me, yeah. I like it right there where you popping that ass like you just don't care. Now wiggle it, jiggle it, just a little bit, swivel it, and let me see you drop that shit. Back it up like a pickup, and I'ma pull up to your bumper and whisper my number. I knew I heard thunder. Shawty, look at them thighs, and you can turn any man rock hard with those eyes. To my surprise, we had the same idea. Let's finish these drinks and get the hell up out of here. Let's roll back to the crib. We can go lay you on down, and I stroke your soul. I have you pulling on the sheets, biting and gritting teeth, holding onto your feet as you skeet, skeet, skeet. Yeah, I know it feel good to you. Chop it down, lumberjack, bring the wood to you. Got a problem, best believe I bring the hood to you. Either way, situation looking good to you. Hit you with the tech and wish a nigga would to you. Yeah, now back it up on me, baby. Buck wild, cowgirl, drive a brother crazy. Hey shawty, let me see you getting naughty. Turn that ass around and back it up on me, yeah. I like it right there where you popping that ass like you just don't care. Hey shawty, let me see you getting naughty. Turn that ass around and back it up on me, yeah. I like it right there where you popping that ass like you just don't care.
For certain, you have a brother splurging on the Birkin. You don't have to change a thing, baby, everything is working. We can skip the velvet ropes, let me peek behind the curtain. Cause I'm done with all this flirting on your spine, I pulled the hurting. Girl, I'm saying, what's the explanation for the faces? See, these other dudes are basic, I can take you different places. You can be my trinity. I'm Neo from the Matrix, orgasm, I mean oracle, I kiss your lady places. I see the contemplation, baby, what's the hesitation? Said your man calls you frustration, guess you need emancipation. Change the station, need a new vibration. Yes, I am a scholar, Kama Sutra graduation. I think I said enough, so tell me what you wanna do, huh? Come on, Talibou, Perry, rendezvous, a place for me and you, just to get you in the mood. Baby, you can bust it open in a penthouse with a view,
Hey shawty, let me see you getting naughty. Turn that ass around and back it up on me, yeah. I like it right there where you popping that ass like you just don't care. Hey shawty, let me see you getting naughty. Turn that ass around and back it up on me, yeah. I like it right there where you popping that ass like you just don't care.
Now wiggle it, jiggle it just a little bit. Now wiggle it, jiggle it just a little bit.
Yeah, Vietnam.
These niggas is playing Russian roulette with a full clip. Foolish, my crew is foolish. Now we don't dance, all we do is stay 2 steps ahead. Make the hoes get loose like a noose neck instead. While these dudes beg for head, they got the game twisted. Heavy traffic in this rap shit, look how my lane shifted. Elevated my game, lifted my name. Now these lame niggas could never get it. Like that bad bitch you wanted but could never hit it. Clever with it, my flow like the devil spit it and heaven sent it. So high if I drop, I would fall for 11 minutes. So yeah, I operate on a higher plane. My thoughts take a higher train. It's dope, then you should know the supplier's name is J. Cole. Set of horns and a halo. And all these hoes, they can say goes. Wanna text us like Waco. Hard to remain faithful. Niggas be throwing hate, yo, I'm in a league of my own. So what the fuck would I play for? Some next niggas almost slid in, but didn't fit in. Nah, I ain't Maury Povich, but who the fuck is you kidding? These big wig niggas throwing they bid in. Try not to show stress, I guess the flow is protested like a sit-in. I told my niggas we would get in, but that ain't even half the battle. Stay behind like a shadow or you catapult. Now if I had a ladder, or now even if I had a rope, I climb that motherfucker to the top and never let it go. Yeah. I'm out for presidents to represent me, nigga. I'm out for presidents to represent me. Yeah, I'm out for dead fucking presidents to represent me. Warm up. Yeah, warm up. Yeah, warm up. This is the warm up. Hey, look, heaven or hell, you choose. Freedom or jail, you lose. I can't stop him as hot as the devil's shoes. Overcame a low life status to blow like Gladys. Ahead of my time, like I live my whole life backwards. I'm nothing like these whole life rappers. My whole life practice to be the one. What it's like to be LeBron. They calling you the savior, so much pressure, but you deal with it. The weight of the world on your shoulders, but you still lift it. Ill with it for real. Lil nigga from Ville, that real niggas can feel. Nobody taught us how to cook, still niggas a grill, no foreman. Try not to call them ladies bees, but them hoes swarming. Now honey, hey, is it destiny or is it money? You're feeling, heard rumors of a deal and now you're thinking a million. Pardon my paranoid mind, but I'm staring in the mirror, living in fear that things will never be the same. No one left for me to blame but myself, cause I asked for this. Headed for fame, but in my brain, hey, can I last in this? Hey, 5 years, I probably laugh at this. Try not to let it wear me out like a bad bitch with fashion sense. I keep it fresh while these whack niggas rehashing shit. Jacking styles, you know, ski mask and shit.
Y'all can hear me, right? Alright. Yeah, we good? Let's go.
Whipping with that ragu. Big sport, talking game when I pass through. Yeah. Said I'll holler at you in a few. Sports in the interview, I'm big swag goo. Whoa. Whipping with that ragu. Big sport, talking game when I pass through. Yeah. Said I'll holler at you in a few. Sports in the interview, I'm big swag goo. Whoa. Flexing like I'm in the gym, bench pressing. What's the day's map? That's the day's lesson. Getting to that bag, that's a daily blessing. 40 cal hollow in my Smith & Wesson. My economic value going that direction. The new plug, worldwide connection. I do it big, president election. I'm smoking Zaza in the smoking section. I'm smoking Zaza in the smoking section. The price of fame, $1 billion question. They say it's up, they watching my progression. It's time I take over, that's just my confession. So I tell them that I'm whipping with that ragu. Big sport, talking game when I pass through. Yeah, said I'll holler at you in a few. Sports in the interview, I'm big swag goo. Whoa, whipping with that ragu. Big sport, talking game when I pass through. Yeah, said I'll holler at you in a few. Sports in the interview, I'm big swag goo. Whoa, jumping off the porch like Jimmy Superfly. Timberlake and Hova in my suit and tie. Baby chase the globe, I tell them touch the sky. Ride or die, I'm loving life, that's why I fly. I'm looking at success, I stare it in the eye. I get it done, that's why I never try. They say I'm eating good, now let's slice the pie. Entertaining, charismatic type of guy. Play a conversation, talking stat line. No, I'm spitting game, I'm on the chat line. Value on the number, yeah, you know the sign. The go-getter out here, yeah, I'm getting mine. Cause I'm whipping with that ragu. Big sport, talking game when I pass through. Yeah, said I'll holler at you in a few. Sports in the interview, I'm big swag goo. Whoa, with that ragu. Big sport, talking game when I pass through. Yeah, Said I'll holler at you in a few. What? Sports in the interview, I'm big swag.